What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
6 Ob. Chapter 96. Infancy. Mermaid race. Three-eyed race, subdue them. Quote, quote. Crackling. Locke stood up and stretched his muscles and bones again, then muttered lazily, just right. Go out and see how these little guys are doing now. However, one thing is strange, why haven't those guys come to the door yet? Are you looking for trouble? It's really strange. Rubbing his chin, Locke walked out of the room, muttering about this strangely, to be honest. I am really weird, you know. According to my brother, those guys are starting to prepare, yes. Moreover, I also know their actions, and the result. It has been several months, and these guys have calmed down instead, as if nothing happened, nothing will happen, but it's very strange. Locke also didn't think of it, or rather, I can't figure it out, what's going on here. All in all, it's really weird, but it doesn't matter if you think about it a little bit. Lousy occupies an absolute advantage, and the soldiers come to cover up the water and the earth. Besides, in the face of absolute power, you are just lousies. It's nothing more than experience value, this is beyond doubt. Anyway, Locke was quite calm, walked out of the room, and walked towards the training ground with a smile on his face. And, at this moment in the training ground, the little ones of the Edward family are all working hard, except for Enel. Enel is really too young, and now he is close to 4 years old. That's it. That's right. There is also little Ozzy. Little Ozzy's health is really not good. He has cultivated for such a long time, but he still can't do it. It will take at least 1 or 2 years. Look at the tree of omniscience, it's really good, but I don't know how Ohara will react now. But, to be honest, the Golden City is a treasure trove of 400 inches, although it looks good, but if it is really sneaked in, isn't it too easy? Thinking of this, Locke thought for a while, and finally shook his head and said, forget it. It's pointless to think so much, if people can come here. Or if they fumbled here, it is estimated that the entire Edward family and the Whitebeard pirate group are basically waiting to perish. Quote. Locke shook his head silently at this, forget it. Forget it. It really doesn't make any sense, this matter. It really doesn't make any sense at all. Locke feels that there is really nothing to consider about it, that's why. These things will be discussed later, and we will discuss them in the future. Locke didn't continue to think about these things, but walked towards the other side, quietly looking into the distance, and gradually walked towards the training ground, to see, what are those little guys in his family doing now? How to say, as time goes by, the number of little guys in the family is actually increasing. This is really not a joke, but more and more. As long as you are not an idiot, then, basically, you can watch it come out. Locke naturally also knows that when these little guys in the family really grow up, then this is the time to really change the world, just like what Crane has observed. Actually, no matter how powerful Locke, Newgate, Omegamon, etc. are. But, they are still just an individual, and the strength of an individual is beyond doubt. It must be very strong. But, there is a very fundamental reason, or to put it another way. The most fundamental reason, you absolutely have to admit, is that no matter how powerful the individual is, unless it is said that it has achieved the kind of true invincibility, no matter what opponent it is, it can the degree to which it can be easily disposed of, otherwise. Everything is essentially meaningless. Locke is very clear about these, and if the real growth is a collective, then it will be different, just kidding. Lousy has 100 vice admirals in his family, and 30 admirals, what deterrent is this? This is definitely more terrifying than the deterrent power of Omega Beast itself. After all, if you face a strong man at the level of Captain Locke's, you may choose to continue to face it. After all, although he is said to be very powerful, but it is definitely not impossible to defeat, but what if you are facing 30 admirals? I am afraid that you will choose to take a detour without hesitation, it is very simple. Because this is definitely not an opponent, it is no longer a level of battle. If it really reaches such a level, by that time, everything will be meaningless. Locke sees this very clearly, and even more clearly, this point. It is really very important, this is not a joke. In other words, there are many core problems contained in it. Especially for a family, undeniably said, whether a family is strong or not is related to the strong, but it has a lot to do with the number. Why is Marine the overlord of the sea? It is because 3 handsome generals, at least 4 top fighters. This is the real core of Marine as the overlord of the sea, otherwise. What do you think it is based on? A dream. Locke understands this very well, although he said, I am a salty fish, but I am actually very clear about this matter, of course. If you let yourself plan more deeply, and calculate others more deeply. Unrealistic. Locke is not such a brain-playing person. Comparing yourself to Sengoku and Crane is just pure pressure. You have to compare your IQ with other counselors through the ages. Isn't that what brains do? Anyway, Locke feels that there is no need for him to do such a thing, it is really unnecessary. From all aspects, it is meaningless, and if this is the case, Then deal with it slowly. Well, I just need to set the general direction, the future. The details and all aspects can be handled by others. This is the simplest thing. What Locke believes in is that capable people do what they should do. Since Lousy does not have this ability, then it proves that Lousy is not suitable, since this is the case. Don't do these things yourself, it is not suitable. Not suitable, wrong. Or say, it should be more appropriate to call it without any necessity. What? Breathing lazily, Locke walked into the training ground step by step. When he just came here, he saw all the little guys training hard like crazy, As for the Murlocs, the total number of my little guys has reached 700 now. How to say? Locke thinks he understands it. My brother's recruitment of adopted sons and adopted daughters is really a matter of sight. As long as he likes it, he will be Lousy's son and Lousy's daughter. Fortunately, the current home is big enough. As for why there are only 1600 people in the original work, guess it yourself. It's because the Moby Dick is not big enough. That's why the final result is like this, otherwise. According to my brother's character, if there is no accident, the future little guy will definitely grow bigger and bigger. More. But, regarding this point, Luke just doesn't care. The current situation of my family is obviously quite special. To be honest, what Locke thinks is the most outrageous is, Let me ask you a question first. Is there an upper limit to a person's qualifications? Yes. And the gap is still very obvious, the gap, so sometimes there is a big gap between the upper limit and the lower limit of a pirate group. Is this understandable? Only. The situation in my family is quite outrageous. My elder brother can always bring back a group of teenagers with very good qualifications. At least as long as they grow up, they are all children who surpass the elite soldiers of naval headquarters, or even say. Sometimes you can bring back the captain of the original team. The sub-captain. When these grow up, they can make Commodore, Rear Admiral, and eat qualified devil fruit, and cultivate them well. That is definitely the level of Vice Admiral geniuses. So, Locke is a bit deceived now. I feel very strange. Other Marines are carefully selected. And my brother can find it when he goes out, to be honest. Don't say that you are confused, it is considered a change. It's also ignorant, although I said. My brother doesn't know how to teach, and my brother is an idiot in this respect, but the qualifications of other children must be there, this is beyond doubt. Seriously, sometimes, these things are just outrageous. Never mind. Locke shook his head, and said secretly in his heart, these things are really strange things. I don't know what the specific reason is, or what is the problem here. Uncle, what's wrong? Just when Locke was thinking, Whitey Bay came over, wiping the sweat off his head, obviously. Just finished his exercise, and looking at Uncle at home, he felt very strange. What are you doing? Why did you come here and start to lose your mind? What? Locke waved his hand and said very calmly, it's nothing. I was just thinking about something interesting. Little girl, this is just over. Tisk tisk tisk, your body is not good enough. Look at me, it's still going on, you can't do it right. You are a noble Logia demon fruit power. Whitey feels that the veins on his forehead are exposed, to be honest. It's too annoying. The tone of my uncle's words is really annoying, obviously. It shouldn't be like this. But why? What? Talking can be so hateful, or say. How can it be so irritating? It's just quite outrageous, anyway. Whitey thinks it's very outrageous, but looking at this angry little girl whose teeth are itchy, Locke said with a smile. Okay. Alright, I won't tease you anymore, have a good rest. It is very important to combine work and rest, otherwise. If there is a problem with the body, it will be a real troublesome thing. Shaking his head with emotion, Locke looked at Whitey Bay, gently rubbed his little head, what should I say? I was really very worried about what happened to these children in my family, this is not a joke. It is a common problem of pirates, to be honest. Normally, pirates are very prone to this kind of problem. It is definitely a very huge problem. If it is dealt with well, then there is nothing to say. But if it is not handled well, then this is definitely a big problem. The body has left hidden wounds, then. It is like the original book, like the elder brother among them, it will be a very big trouble, but are these problems really unavoidable? Of course not. To be precise, these are all avoidable. Look at the trio of Sengoku, Garp, and Zephyr in Marine, they are all the same age, they were not injured when they were young. There were no hidden injuries when they were young. Question mark. This is obviously impossible, so, people can have no problems because they are very well protected, and if there are problems on my side, I am afraid there is no need to say more. Because most of the time they don't care at all. Therefore, Locke didn't want these children in his family to be like this, if they were all like this, it would be too uncomfortable. Whitey raised his head arrogantly, and said seriously, Uncle, I wouldn't be like this. Moreover, with the big sister watching, it is impossible for such a thing to happen. Locke also nodded at this. Indeed, with Lilith, it seems that such a thing is basically impossible. Generally speaking, no problem is the best. And Locke continued to walk towards the training ground. In the training ground, all the little guys were practicing very hard, except for Enel and little Ozzy because of their age. Younger, one is unable to train because of a physical problem, the other little guys are all practicing hard here, after all. When this training ground is built, it is definitely not a problem to accommodate tens of thousands of people, that's it. Locke is also very calm about this, on the other side. Locke looked at the little guys in front of him, and he was also thinking about it. Abel, Bista, Fosa, Skuyad, Jinbei, Namur, Karlma, Lakoyo, and Wadib, who has finished his daily training, in total. These 9 little guys, every day all of them are in the daily assiduous penance. Besides, these 9 little guys, while Enel and little Ozzy are not practicing, and the sisters Lilith and Tito are working hard to learn medical skills as ship doctors and nurses, in general. The whole Whitebeard Pirates, the group is thriving and growing, and it is very perfect in various aspects. Have a look, just say it, it's really all little monsters. Well, let's grow up well. Little guys, after all, the future of the family depends on you. Locke's smile is very strong, the entire Edward family 5.4. The Whitebeard Pirates really need to rely on these little guys, this is absolutely undoubted. In addition, these little guys are also working hard to grow. After all, regardless of any little guy, they all have outstanding aptitudes and amazing talents, and under such circumstances, the growth of these children is the most important thing. Correct. Locke turned his head, looked at Lilith beside him and asked, Lilith, has that child recovered? Lilith nodded and said, Uncle, that child has recovered, and her body has recovered to a good degree, but now she is more or less autistic, and because of memory problems, she is in a kind of I don't know anything and I'm in the stage of relearning. That's good. It's good that there are no problems, and the rest can be learned slowly. As for the problem of autism, well, when the old brother comes back, I will let the old brother handle it. When dealing with children, I have to deal with it. Quote. Locke waved his hand, as long as it's okay. Sharks. This is the only descendant of the merman tribe that Locke took away on the Fishmen Island, and this child has woken up after a long sleep, but there are some problems with the body, and there are also some problems with the personality. In addition, there are still some problems with memory. In general, these are all problems, because my brother has already gone to pick up Chuan Ling's granddaughter, so this child is temporarily placed in the hospital. After all, I am really not good at taking care of children, according to my personality. If it was a brat, he might just give her a slap in the face. Chapter 97. News of the Phoenix Fruit. Please, we are pirates. Of course I grabbed it. Yo, brother, you're back. Locke lazily greeted his elder brother, while Newgate, who had just stepped off the Moby Dick, was taken aback, and said strangely, Locke, why do you have time to come out today? Really, strange. According to your personality, shouldn't you normally stay in your room? Locke nodded and said, the game has been cleared in the past few days, the so-called come out and take a look, after all. What's going on with these little guys in my family, don't you have to see it? Otherwise, who knows what's going on in your family? Will there be an accident for the little guy? All in all, Locke is quite calm, anyway. These are small problems, basically there will be no problems, I am just a little tired from playing, so I go out for a walk and relax a little. Cut. Newgate curled his lips in disdain and said, you bastard, you really speak well. Forget it. Lousy is too lazy to care about you, anyway, it has nothing to do with Lousy, but Having said that, hasn't anyone come to make trouble lately? Newgate just left for half a month, The island where Chuan Ling's granddaughter is located is called a remote one. To be honest, Newgate himself thinks it's outrageous. Really, an island, can it be so remote? The driver Moby Dick spent half a month back and forth, and this is exactly one round trip, and he just came back properly. Locke also shook his head strangely and said, honestly, regarding this point, I also find it quite strange. According to the information I have received, there is obviously a problem, so I should say it. There must be a problem, but weird problem, it's been here for such a long time, but no one came to make trouble. To be frank, Locke himself finds it quite strange. Really, what are these guys thinking? It's been such a long time, but one by one still doesn't intend to come to the door to make trouble, what's the matter? You were planning to accumulate enough people in one go, so are you going to kill them with one hit? Judging from the current situation, it probably means this. 07 After all, Akoku, John, Silver Axe, and Linlin have already joined forces with 4 admiral-level powerhouses. If it is based on the strength exposed by their own family, well, this strength is really not enough. So, they should plan to contact some other people, but Locke is also very curious, who can these 4 guys continue to contact? This question is also quite interesting. To be frank, Locke is really curious about this point. In the current situation above the sea, there are very few people who want to find suitable people. After all, the remaining guys are all arrogant, for them, even if they are not opponents, but you let these guys form an alliance with other people. To be honest, the feasibility of this matter is really not high, so let's say. Who will do it, and when? Well, it's still the same sentence. Soldiers come to block, water comes to cover. Anyway, we'll just wait here dignifiedly. Locke is very calm. Is he willing to make trouble? Then, you are welcome to make trouble, but if you want to make trouble, then you'd better be well prepared. How do you say that? If you don't gain weight, Lousy won't be able to forgive you for beating you up. So, Locke is not interested in the situation of these people, but at this time, a little girl came down from the Moby Dick. This is a little girl who looks like 5 or 6 years old. Very cute and well behaved, but the third eye on the forehead gave people a very hideous feeling. 3 eyes. Above this sea, the number of the three-eyed clan has actually become less and less. In other words, does the three-eyed clan really exist, or how many of them still exist? These are things that are difficult to say. And the ship a child like Ling Ling's granddaughter may be the last descendant of the extremely rare three-eyed clan. Uncle. The child nodded obediently to Locke, and Locke looked at the child and said interestingly, little girl. What's your name? To be frank, Locke still thinks it's outrageous. This is only 15 days. And you have to deduct half of the time on the road. In other words, this is at least a week. But, it's like this week, but such a thing happened, this child. This little girl, she will follow her elder brother willingly and has become her elder brother's daughter. Anyway, seriously, as far as his brother's special ability in this regard, Locke summed it up as. Maybe it's some kind of innate ability, just like listening to the voice of all things. Maybe this is some kind of innate special ability, if you think about it this way. That seems to be a matter of course. The possibility is very high, and when Locke was thinking about it, the little girl was cute and well behaved. Uncle. My name is Belle. Belle, really a cute little girl. Locke is really looking at Belle gently. She is really a very cute little girl who looks too well behaved. How could she not like such a little girl? It would be strange if she didn't like her the thing. Anyway, for Locke, he likes this cute little girl very much. Locke rubbed his chin, thinking, wait, let Uncle think about it. It seems that there is a devil fruit that is very suitable for you. To be frank, is it true that Locke has arranged suitable devil fruits for these children in his family? How should I put it? Still the same sentence. Although Luo Jia is a top-level hockey-capable user, he became the One Piece King, but Luo Jia there is only one person, and the other idea is that there are too many demon fruit powers, so if this is the case, it must still take more devil fruits to let their children grow up. Moreover, a Bell's cat fruit phantom beast species griffin type. Skayod spider fruit, phantom beast, and a rock pinch. Logia snow fruit of White Bay. Enel's Logia thunder fruit. Lakios paramesha lock fruit. Phos's paramesha hot fruit. And Little Oz's mini fruits. These are all needless to say. Either the top-level Eudemon's devil fruit, or Logia devil fruit, or the devil fruit that suits you best. It can be said that Locke basically prepares devil fruit for his little ones. It's top-notch. Just kidding. Since the devil fruit I prepared is either top-notch or the most suitable, is there any problem for these little guys? Stop being funny. If you study carefully, you will find that among the strong, the number of capable people is very large, basically. There are too many capable people, and it can be seen from this that the improvement brought by devil fruit is definitely it's just huge, so I say it. Do you need to say more about this situation? But Newgate was taken aback, and asked strangely, Locke, do you have any devil fruit suitable for Belle, a little girl? Locke nodded and said, of course there is no problem. Paramesha memory fruit. It is definitely the most suitable devil fruit for Belle, who is from the three-eyed family, and with memory fruit, it will definitely not be a problem. Quote. In fact, this is the matching method of the Big Mom pirates in the original book, let alone. Locke really thinks it is very good. Memory fruit, the devil fruit's potential, has been brought into full play. All in all, it is definitely a very good devil fruit, and there is absolutely no need to doubt it. Locke was also very calm about this, and seeing the devil fruit handed over by Uncle, Belle was also cute and well behaved. Thank you, Uncle. Talking. Belle took the devil fruit, and ate it lightly, just. How should I put it? The taste of devil fruit. It really understands everything, and after taking a bite of the memory fruit, Belle's face instantly changed. It became distorted. This cute little guy seemed to be doubting his life. He couldn't believe it. There would be such an unpalatable food, and Locke said with a smile at this time, that's right. That's right. Belle, devil fruit, you need to eat all of it to display its full power. Otherwise, it's impossible to know the ability. Woo woo woo. I got it, Uncle. The lovely child Belle uttered a cry of pain, and finally ate a devil fruit silently, and Newgate watched this scene, although he said, as the father's conscience, he told himself that he should remind your child, tell her that there is no need to eat so much, it's just that. As a fun person, we Newgate couldn't help but smile when we watched this scene, and we can only say. Everyone is happy people. Uncle, I'm done eating. There was a gleam of light in Belle's third eye, obviously he had obtained the ability of the complete memory fruit. It's just going astray. What kind of complete memory fruit ability is the ability to get the memory fruit? It is good. Locke's eyes were full of gentleness, and he said with a smile, Belle. It's fine to slowly develop the ability to remember fruits in the future. After all, you are still young. If you are too tired, it will not be a good thing. Okay, uncle. Belle is full of cuteness, no matter how I say it, my uncle is for my own good. I just came to this new environment, uncle just gave me a devil fruit, so that I can grow better. Only, Belle doesn't know that devil fruit can gain power just by eating one bite, otherwise. Belle is probably going to be brave to hit the head now, this uncle is really too bad. It's just let people feel deadly. Locke smiled at this, Anyway, such things will not be known to people, just treat it as ignorance. Locke has a smirk all over his face, and for Newgate, it's just too late to stop it, that's right. That's right, it's just too late to stop this matter. Smiling and stroking the cute child Belle's little head, and Locke's smile became more and more intense, what a lovely child, really happy, such a cute child, after a bit of bullying, I really feel refreshed. Second day, Locke walked out of the villa, still did not start. I have a new journey, I still have to take a good rest, I am still too tired, there is nothing I can do. I finally cleared a game, if I suddenly cough cough cough, all I can say is that Locke is for the time being, dead. I also have to reply carefully, otherwise, it will always be like this, and that is not a good thing, is it? So, it's time for people to rest, and that's when they should take a good rest. Anyway, Locke will never admit it, he's more or less timid. There's no way, it's just too difficult. I've been playing a game for more than a year, if I don't take a good rest, I'm really too tired. Can only say, Locke is the standard type of food that still likes to play, obviously not suitable for playing this type of game, but in the end he always likes to play this type of game, in general. Yes. It's just normal, after all. People, there are always some hobbies in life. You can't say that 947 won't let me play just because of my cooking. This matter, Luo. The minister thinks it is not appropriate. It's not. Although Locke takes a break, he just won't give up. For himself, this is really a small problem. It's purely a small problem, isn't he? I will give up my liking for the Soul Series games. Wearing a bathing suit and trunks, Locke intends to go out for a swim, and then take a good bubble bath, of course. In fact, according to his own strength. Or, according to his own ability. If you really want to win, then it's actually not a difficult thing, it's just. Locke said that if that was the case, why would he still play games? It would be meaningless at all. So, playing games is a game. If you want to be happy, even if you die, then. Is there any point in playing games by yourself? Anyway, Locke felt that if this was the case, it would really be meaningless. Uncle, Lilith, what's wrong? Locke raised his head and walked out of the swimming pool. Looking at Lilith who came suddenly, he felt very strange. How should I put it? Lilith rarely comes here. For me, the reason is actually very simple, that is, since Lilith found out that her body will not have any problems, then. I don't think it is necessary. Although, in Lilith's eyes, her work and rest is quite bad. It is also quite irregular, but, no matter how you say it, as long as you have no problems, then. Exclamation mark. Everything is naturally good, because of this. Lilith also doesn't care about herself. Lilith continued. Uncle, Dad asked me to call you over, saying that he found some interesting things, I hope you can go and have a look. Locke waved his hand, the data on his body flicked, all the drops of water disappeared, replaced by a suit of casual clothes, followed Lilith and left, walking in the. On the way, he asked. That's right. Lilith, how is Alice's child? Alice, that is the child of the mermaid tribe, she is also a lovely child, but how should I put it? This situation is rather embarrassing. Lilith explained gently. Uncle, the relationship between Alice and Dad is very good. The two of them don't have any problems now, and they have become our younger sisters. Locke fell into silence again, or. Forget it. Don't complain, I can't accept it. I can't understand it. I was shocked. Anyway, Locke also pretended not to know about this matter, but continued to ask. That's right. Brother Lilith asked me to go because of what? Is there any important news? Quote. Lilith nodded and said. Uncle. It is said that Dad knew about a top-level phantom beast devil fruit, but. More details are not particularly clear for the time being. Chapter 98. Pleasure Island Pleasure Street Queen of the Pleasure District, Stussy. Advertise here. Brother. What kind of eudemon's devil fruit? Bird fruit phantom beast hyphenation point phoenix form. Locke strode into the room, and as a result, he was stunned when he asked, Phoenix fruit. This devil fruit is indeed not in my hands, to be honest. I thought at first, this devil fruit, the old man brother got it a long time ago, but it turned out that it was not in the hands of his brother, but outside. However, it is understandable after thinking about it a little bit. According to the character of my brother, if this moment had already happened devil fruit, it must have been eaten by the little guy at home, it is impossible to wait for Marco to appear. Locke sat down on the sofa beside him, picked up the tea in front of him, poured himself a cup, drank it, and asked. Tell me carefully, what news is this? I haven't heard of it. You know it all the news, then it is estimated that this news has already caused a lot of people to know, right? Newgate looked at his cousin, and couldn't help asking, how did you say such shameless things when you clearly didn't know anything? At this moment, Newgate really didn't know what to say. Okay. Got used to. Got used to. My cousin has such a shameless look, so what do you think can be done? There is no other way. Newgate also shook his head, and he drank his tea, explaining, this devil fruit is on auction. The auction is held on Happy Island, but it's very strange that such a devil fruit will be auctioned in that place. Normally, no matter whether it is big or small, strong or weak, devils of phantom beast species, as long as the fruit stays, there will be no problems in the end. Locke thought for a while, and thought, this woman Stussy is the underground emperor, but her real identity is the CPO of the world government, and she can be regarded as one of the people with special status, so she is auctioning phantom beasts to the outside world. Devil fruit, maybe it's the opinion of the world government. What's wrong? Seeing his elder brother looking at him, Locke was stunned for a moment, and said strangely, although this news is quite hidden, but as far as I am concerned, you know my ability, brother, and know some special information, and it's not surprising. At this point, Locke is not joking. How should I put it? Although Stussy always wears a fox mask when he appears as CPO, this is also proof, although in fact, the identity of Stussy is basically unknown, otherwise. If it is really known to everyone, then it seems that there is no need for Stussy to make such a gesture, so to sum up, Stussy's identity is still kept secret. I don't have any other opinions on this matter. Just to say, Newgate also rubbed his chin, thinking, if Stussy is the CPO of the world government, then this matter is even more strange. Normally, there is no need for her to auction such a phantom beast devil fruit, after all. As long as it is handed over to the world government, then at the very least, it will be trained to be a quasi-admiral level powerhouse, which is quite strange. Locke thought about it for a while, and said, is it possible that people don't lack such a phantom beast? The two brothers, you look at me, I look at you, but fell into silence for a while. What should I say? Say something. Amount. I don't know what to say. I can only say, look at others. This is the real family and business. Look at yourself. Sigh. Forget it. Forget it. I don't want to say anything. I'm really too lazy to cow. No need. No need. There is really no need to say anything. Locke said calmly. So, brother, are you planning to get this phoenix fruit? Newgate picked up the tea again and drank it down, saying, of course. This devil fruit is a devil fruit that is very suitable for doctors to eat. It can not only improve your own recovery power, but also it can also be used for treatment. I think it suits Lilith very well. I don't think it fits. Hearing Newgate's words, Locke waved his hands calmly, and said very calmly, Lilith, the child's talent is very poor. In terms of cultivation, whether it's Lilith or Tito, the two children's talent is very poor. It's not good, but if you can't fully utilize the power of the phoenix fruit, then it will be a waste, but I think that treating the fruit will be more suitable for the two children Lilith or Tito. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Newgate's face was full of question marks, but after thinking about it for the last time, he nodded and said, all right. All right. You have the final say. If you think it's okay, then it's okay. Anyway, Newgate felt that since his younger brother said so, then there must be no problem, after all. In this respect, or in other words, these aspects, his younger brother's consideration is indeed more sufficient. That's it, and Newgate has no problem with that. But, Newgate pondered. Locke, why don't we get this Eudemon's devil fruit? Joke. The corners of Locke's mouth twitched slightly, and he refused without hesitation. How could you give up? It's like a joke. Now that we know the news, if we don't get it, it will be a shame. And what kind of embarrassment is it? Okay. Newgate nodded and said, are you going to participate in the auction? What? The corners of Locke's mouth twitched slightly, looked at the big things in his house and complained. So, brother, are you going to buy it? Newgate said very calmly, it's an auction. If you don't buy it, what can Lousy do? Could it be? Talk and talk. Newgate also fell into a kind of silence. All of a sudden, Newgate has a feeling that he doesn't know what to say. I always feel that something is not right. That's right. It's that something is not right, it seems. That's right. Probably. I'm a pirate, right? At this moment, Newgate suddenly reflected. Yes. Aren't you a pirate? Since you are a pirate, then I would go to the auction and plan to buy it. Isn't this wrong in some way? Locke looked at his elder brother and said very calmly, so. Now you understand it through research. If you don't understand it through research, let's continue talking. If I remember correctly, we are pirates, right? Quote. We are pirates, yes. The shipbuilder's ship, the swordsmith's weapon, or the food that sells supplies, or everything else, in general, these necessities, and they are all fear. If there is a problem, it is definitely impossible not to spend money, after all. If someone does something secretly, If something really happens, it will be an embarrassing thing, so there is nothing to say. Brother, what the hell are you thinking? They are auctioning off a devil fruit of phantom beast species. You don't plan to snatch it, but you actually plan to buy it honestly. Is there a problem with you, or a problem with me? Locke has a strange feeling looking at Newgate at this moment. When I look at you with this look, then it is confirmed, it is really not my problem, but your problem. The corner of Newgate's mouth twitched slightly, and he said without hesitation, lousy is just a moment. Locke said without hesitation, okay. Brother, you just have a problem with your head, so you don't need to explain so much. It doesn't mean much, right? It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to say it anymore. I understand everything. I understand everything too, in general. Let's set sail and go straight to Happy Island. When the time comes, I don't believe that woman Stussy dares to give us the phoenix fruit. There was a frightening cold light in his eyes. Locke's killing intent was terrifying, even full of horror, making people feel like a devil from hell. Newgate also nodded and said, okay. Then it's settled. Okay, I'm going back. Correct. Brother, are you planning to start keeping in good health? Did you stop drinking alcohol and drink tea instead? But, I have to say, your idea is still very good, generally speaking. There is no problem after all. Although Locke complained about this, but he stood up and left, even though he said so. It's still very good, my brother finally relaxed, which is a good thing, yes. After all, drinking every day is not a good thing in itself. Again, although the people in this world have great strength, and the lifespan of powerful people is longer, but, in essence, you are still a person, and if you don't pay attention to your body, this person will still appear. There are many problems, just like the problem of drinking. If you don't pay attention, there will be some problems, so I say. This is also very important. Listening to Locke's words, Newgate curled his lips with a look of disdain, but still smiled and raised the corners of his mouth, and finally shook his head. How should I put it? Of course Newgate knew about these situations, although it is said that Newgate has not given up drinking, but Newgate has gradually started to take care of his body and his heart, commonly known as, hoping that there will be no more problems. After all, now Newgate's heart has been activated again. In other words, Newgate wants to become stronger now, not joking, but a real desire from the heart to become stronger, and in such a situation next. Naturally, many things are different, just like Newgate's thoughts. Newgate is actually very clear. If he wants to become stronger, then he must ensure that his body remains stable. Otherwise, when I wanted to become stronger, I ended up with a problem with my body. It would be a really embarrassing thing if I no longer supported myself to become stronger. If it really reached that level, then Newgate himself would resent himself. Therefore, the current Newgate is not only taking care of his body with the help of Lilith, but also the hidden injuries he has suffered. Injuries. There are also some bad habits. Basically, they are correcting, including what he likes. The problem of drinking is actually changing his license, so to speak. And to put it bluntly, Newgate is really serious about changing himself. After all, after the battle with Omegamon, after the fight, Newgate lost very miserably. Moreover, after that battle, Newgate also gradually understood a lot. Yes, I have already forgotten my own weakness. Or to put it another way, I seem to have forgotten that I want to become stronger. I am really working hard step by step. I want to become stronger step by step. This is new. Getter is firm in his heart. And this is the fact, but Newgate still lost. He lost miserably, just like when he faced Captain Locke back then, no matter how hard he tried. They all lost very miserably. And to this day, it is still the same as back then. I still lost very miserably, it seems. I have been like this all my life. In the same way, he still lost in the face of Omegamon, or he still lost so miserably. After leaving from the Locke's pirates, Newgate, who had gradually begun to not care about everything, slowly remembered again. Yes, I seem to be relaxed. It's not good, I actually forgot. I want to become stronger, then. I have to work hard step by step, only in this way can I really go on. Otherwise. Forever, you cannot become stronger. Therefore, Newgate once again picked up his firm heart. And what will be the result of such a firm heart? Presumably. In fact, it is already self-evident. It's just changing from daily drinks to tea, so. From here, it can be seen how determined Newgate is and how serious he is in making changes. Change, this is really not a joke, but it really comes from the heart. It comes from the soul to let oneself change. This is Newgate's firm heart now. He will never give up, but will go on firmly, step by step. Step by step, firm step by step. Go on, and only in this way can I become stronger firmly. This is the heart of Newgate. About this, Locke expressed that he was very calm. Of course, got it, it was also a joy from the heart. No matter how you say it, his old brother has recovered the feeling of becoming stronger. Ambition, this is a very important thing. He. Walking on the road, Locke said with a smile, overall, it's still very good. No matter how I say it, my brother is still very serious and working hard to become stronger, or Very good. After all, if it continues like this, then it can definitely surpass the strength in the original book, and the stronger the strength, the better, after all. When you become stronger and stronger, danger will gradually stare at you, and at this time, you have to become stronger and stronger, and you can surpass the danger, otherwise, everything is meaningless. That's all. Quote. Locke shook his head calmly, and didn't continue to think about it so much, so let's call it a day. Next, the Sphinx headed straight for Pleasure Island. Happy Island. Happy Street. Queen of the Pleasure District. Stussy. This is one of the well-known underground emperors in the New World. She is an extremely old underground emperor. Her identity is very special. Where does she come from? No one knows. Dao, what exactly does she want to do? I just know. This woman has been an underground emperor for a long time, and she has always been an old underground emperor. The owner is extremely terrifying. The power of Happy Street. As the largest red light district in the entire New World, such a place will naturally gather a lot of information. Under such information gathering, a lot of everything gathers in. Together, as time goes by, everything will naturally become different, and Stussy is also a beautiful woman with long sleeves and good at dancing, and she is also managing Happy Island better and better. Only, this auction seems to have some problems. And if this problem is not handled properly, it will be very troublesome. Chapter 99. Omega Beast says, 3 minutes. 30 seconds to chop melons and vegetables is enough. Advertise here. Ha ha ha. Cool. One's life is really enjoyable. Yes. One by one, the pirates hugged the woman in their arms. They shouted excitedly, they are all pirates of the New World, and for these pirates, they don't care what the future will be like, they just keep this as what they think. This is true for many pirates. They all maintain this mentality, or they are just a group of people with their heads pinned to their waistbands. Guys, they have plundered the treasure. For them, they don't think about the future, but spend nothing in a gentle town like Happy Island. Therefore, in addition to making money every day, Happy Island is more important. Happy Island has a lot of information, and it is also an intelligence organization, after all. Beauty is pregnant, so many times, some things I know will naturally be able to say come out, it's not a strange thing. For them pirates, what they want is to have wine today and to be drunk today. They just want to enjoy the present happiness. As for the future, don't make trouble. What is the reason they go to sea for? Isn't it just for this kind of happiness? It's not them, it's their heart, it's their madness, obviously. That's an absolutely indisputable thing, that's what they think. Under such circumstances, most of the pirates will linger on Happy Island, and this kind of scenery will happen every day, and there has always been a rule in Happy Island, that is, whether there are any contradictions, absolutely do not shoot, because this is a truth that has been verified after a large number of pirates have died again and again, and countless strong people have died under the butcher knife of Happy Island. It seems to be telling everyone what a terrifying power lies behind Happy Island. And this is the power of terror in Happy Island, to this day. No one has dared to break this rule all the time. Sometimes. The reason why the rules are rules is because, for the weak, they will die here, and for the strong, they are not interested in these at all, and every 4 years in Happy Island, there will be a meeting and auction, this time the auction will auction some good things, it seems that Happy Island is losing money, after all. The world government is behind him, no matter how he thinks, he will not be short of money, right? Actually, this is the situation of Happy Island. Happy Island doesn't care about these at all. They don't lack this money, so, of course they don't lack this kind of supplies. They use this kind of auction to maintain the status of Happy 740 Island, is also to maintain the status of Stussy's underground emperor, so to speak. All these are very fundamental things. And this is the situation of Happy Island. Stussy is also very clear about these things, she maintains the status of Happy Island through such means, of course. The main thing is the secret support of the world government, no matter what. Even if it is Stussy how amazing the means are, then, everything is a meaningless thing. Why do distant islands feel closer? Did you drink too much? Yes. The two pirates staggered shoulder to shoulder and looked into the distance, always feeling very strange. One of them seemed to have seen the huge island gradually sailing towards him, making people squint their eyes involuntarily. The other pirate waved his hand calmly. This matter is simply impossible. How could there be an island coming from afar? This is absolutely impossible. Only, as time passed, their eyes widened at the same time. Because they really saw the island that came from afar. F***K. The Sphinx. How is this possible? Why did the Sphinx appear here? The eyes of these two pirates widened in disbelief, and their eyes were full of unbelievable expressions. The two people who were originally in a daze were now sobered up in an instant, so stop making trouble. MMP. What the hell is going on here? Both of them are full of bewilderment, even more so full of disbelief, just can't imagine, okay. Normally, these powerful pirate groups above the sea are basically interested in Happy Island, and generally they will come to play, after all. Everyone is a man. On this sea, such actions are also it's all understandable. Only, the Whitebeard pirates are an exception. Because, the Whitebeard pirates have no adult members except Edward brothers, and all of them are teenagers. Are these little guys here to play? It's almost like just kidding. Because of this, it is recognized by everyone that it is impossible for the Whitebeard pirates to come to Happy Island to play, if they come. No, 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 it is impossible to come and play up. Because this is AF asterisk king unrealistic thing. Just kidding. According to the status of Brother Edward, if you want a woman, what kind of woman do you want? As for coming to Happy Island. Gudong. Brother, will nothing happen? What? I don't think it's possible. Happy Island. One of the pirates couldn't help asking, and the other almost instinctively wanted to refuse this matter, and he immediately understood, this matter. What's going on? Yes. For these guys, it is definitely impossible to come here to make trouble, but if it is for monsters like the Whitebeard pirates, they may not have any fear at all. So, Gudong. The two brothers swallowed a mouthful of saliva, they looked at each other, turned around without hesitation, and left immediately, just kidding. Although the possibility of problems is not high, but it is better to stay away. Well, what if there is a problem? If there is a problem, then you are a good guy. At that time, the probability of your accident is too high, and there will be a feeling of high and outrageous. The two brothers immediately chose to escape, and on the other side, the Sphinx had already headed straight for Happy Island, and the speed was getting faster and faster. Moment. The entire Happy Island was directly fried. For everyone on Happy Island, they were keenly aware that something was wrong. Something was wrong. There was definitely a problem. 100% there was a problem. The Whitebeard pirates arriving, there is definitely a problem. Everyone hastened to be vigilant, they are happy here, but they are not here to die. If this F asterisk king dies here, it will be an extremely embarrassing thing up. So, one by one is carefully retreating to the back, pay attention. Be vigilant, don't make any big problems happen. At the same time, the news of the arrival of the Sphinx naturally also reached the Queen of Happy Island, the Minister of Stussy. Happy Island. In fact, it is divided into two parts. Happy Island is divided into Happy Island and Happy Street. Naturally, there is no need to say more about Happy Island. It is the largest red light district in the world, but there are also various other bars. What kind of game place? Wait, basically as long as there are entertainment facilities that can make people relax, there are basically all of them here, and the inside of the Happy Street is naturally needless to say, Happy Street. Happy Street. Here but it's a boutique. After all, those big people with status, and money, of course, what they enjoy is completely different from the mud-legged pirates in their eyes, and it is because of this. The status of Happy Street is different from other everything is different, at least for these big shots, it must be different, can high-quality goods and garbage be compared? As for the deep part of Pleasure Street, there is a building similar to a castle. The fundamental core of this castle, then. In fact, there is no need to say more, this is the residence of Queen of the Pleasure District, Stussy. This moment, a wisp of blue smoke spewed out from the highest point of the castle, and an elegant and mature woman squinted her eyes slightly. She spit out a wisp of blue smoke, quietly looking into the distance, her eyes calm, but he said indifferently, what do you think is the reason for the arrival of the Whitebeard pirates? This. The Queen of Fun Street, of course, Stussy. And besides that, standing behind her are four women, the names of these four women are very simple, Chun Sha Chu Dong, It sounds very nice, in fact. Chun Sha Chu Dong Ahei is the bright face of Happy Island. Each of the four major killers is very strong, and some people always think that the underground emperor seems to be a group of businessmen. It's just like a joke. Doing business in the underground world is like Doflamingo. If you don't have enough power in your hands, if you don't have good subordinates, how can you do a ghost business? Waiting to die. So, an underground emperor is not weak regardless of his own strength or the forces under his hands. As for the guy who was directly killed by Stussy in the original book, that can only be said. He really never thought that this would be the case, after all. He was excited after getting the baby, and in the end, he was killed suddenly from a faraway position. All he can say is that he was really killed. The wine and sex hollowed out his body, and he has gradually begun to give up. Breathing out a wisp of green smoke again, without waiting for anyone else's answer, Stussy was very calm, and continued to speak softly. What is the specific situation? This is indeed something that can be figured out at all, but Whitebeard, the arrival of the pirates is definitely not for fun, after all. For the Whitebeard pirates, no matter what they want to get, they don't actually need to come here, and they chose to come here. In itself there are huge problems. Spring, summer, autumn and winter bowed their heads respectfully, while Chun pondered for a while and said, Sister, do you think that the Whitebeard pirates came because of our auction this time? He. Stussy spit out another wisp of green smoke, then shook his head very calmly and said, No. No, this is absolutely impossible. For other people, maybe they will do such a thing, but the Whitebeard pirates will never do such a thing, because they are real pirates. For the members of the Whitebeard pirates, since they are pirates, what should a treasure be like? Come get it. Grab. Good. Listening to Dong's words, Stussy nodded indifferently, and said very calmly, I am very clear that they are here. It is definitely not to participate in the auction, but to snatch it. After all, the Whitebeard pirate. In order to build the Sphinx, the regiment robbed 72 countries and 36 forces. Do you think they would care about other things according to their lunatic personality? Love, spring, summer, autumn and winter shook their heads slightly, obviously. They are not idiots, so they are very clear, according to the characters of these people, then. There will be absolutely no fear. And this is the character of the Whitebeard pirates. They are very clear about their own positioning. Since they are pirates, then they must do things that conform to the identity of pirates, for example. If you hit something, the robbery is the end, of course. Mainly Locke, he is very clear about his identity as a pirate, and he is very clear how the situation should be handled. All in all, matter. That is right in front of my eyes. Now, for Stussy, the arrival of the other party is definitely not a good thing, unless I say. I just think that the other party will not do anything to me, but. That is the behavior of an idiot. Put it in the opponent's hand. A.B. Although he said so, but. Stussy is also very clear, if he really resists. Then. It is almost impossible, the reason is very simple. Exclamation mark. It is not an opponent at all, because from the beginning to the end, the two sides are not at the same level, and if it continues under such circumstances, then. What will the result be? How? In fact, it's hard to say. Stussy knows that what I think about here is meaningless, I just have to look, after all. Don't try to gamble, or wait for the opportunity. I will take a look to see if the other party will make a move. All in all, go out, snapped. Standing up, Stussy stepped on high heels and walked out step by step. Her gaze was always fixed on the distance, but her eyes were very dignified. Said, normally, there will be some people who have already troubled the Whitebeard pirates, after all. The Whitebeard pirates seem to be unkind, but I don't know these people. How much will it be able to push out the strength of the Whitebeard pirates? Breathe out a deep breath of smoke again, and Stussy's expression is also very dignified, she knows very well that the Whitebeard pirates are really too strong. Too strong in the true sense. Now, this is really not a joke, because Stussy knows very well that the Whitebeard pirates are absolutely impossible to joke here. And, in the waters around Happy Island, there is a pirate group composed of about a dozen strong men. The weakest of them are all generals, with vice-admiral level combat power, and even more so. Standing at the quasi-admiral level, that is, at the level of the Emperor's deputy. Their identities are very simple, that is, when someone takes action against Happy Island, get rid of these people. Their identities on the surface have nothing to do with Happy Island, just a group of made up of flower protectors, commonly known as mad dogs. For this people who are not strong enough generally dare not provoke Happy Island because you don't know what the forces behind Happy Island are, but yes, the dozen or so flower protectors on the face of others are no match for you. Now, this pirate ship went straight to the Sphinx, instantly. It attracted everyone's attention. Everyone looked calm and looked at the scene in front of them curiously. They want to see what the next result will be. Be honest. These people want to defeat the Whitebeard pirates. Stop it. It's about 3 minutes. In other words, what happens in these 3 minutes determines the next result. What is Stussy's attitude after his arrival? Chapter 100. Night Beast 99% experience points. Elastic Beast Quadruple Jump Evolution Keylin Beast. Advertise here. Clatter. Clatter. The Sphinx is sailing on the sea, and inside, sitting in front of the big screen, it is worth mentioning. The Sphinx is so big that it is simply unrealistic to observe the outside world through the naked eye. Under such a situation and foundation, Locke carried out some transformations. To put it bluntly, he used his own ability to create one camera after another, and then played them out. It's probably that simple, and Locke, Newgate, and the little ones all looked at the pirate ship heading straight for the Sphinx, and Belle explained very seriously, Dad, Uncle, no one knows exactly what this pirate ship is, but after learning from Uncle that Stussy is from the world government, then probably the identity of the other party is from the world government, because of this. They are responsible for guarding in Happy Island. There are a total of 12 people, the weaker ones are probably the strength of the headquarters commodore and rear admiral, the stronger ones have the strength of vice admiral, and the strongest have the strength of quasi-admiral. Locke nodded at this, but he was very calm. What is this strength enough for? Just kidding. Don't say it is now. Even if it is in the past, at most, it will be how long it can hold back. To be honest, the enemies they can deal with are nothing, and the enemies that cannot be dealt with will let Stussy make his own judgment according to the time issue. After all, if they are dealt with in a short time, then Stussy will make a clear decision. I know. What should I do? But if even they can't be dealt with, and a stalemate is formed, then. But it's hard to say. Newgate rubbed his chin, and said calmly, according to Lousy's calculation, it will take about 3 minutes for that woman from Stussy to come here, and these 3 minutes seems to be an interesting time point. He. Locke smiled and said, although, if the other party is willing to hand over the devil fruit obediently, then of course it is the best thing. What a pity. If the other party is not willing to obediently obey, then it is also a good thing in itself, that's it. With a smile on his face, Locke said with a smile, Omega Beast, go get rid of them, I don't want them to stop us alive. Yes. The Omegamon bowed its head respectfully, and then backed off. The white cloak on its back flicked slightly, and the whole person had turned into a figure and disappeared in place in an instant, while Locke raised his legs slightly, hooked with a smile, he said interestingly, so. If these people are all dealt with, how will the world government deal with it? Whitebeard tilted his head and asked, Uncle, are we going to expose our power? Do we want to expose a strong Omegamon? Locke shook his head, and said very calmly, this is not a troublesome thing. If you are exposed, after all. Power. Then it is better to show it. If you don't show your power, you should stay at home and hide it. Do you think those flies will keep coming around? After a brief silence, all the little guys nodded seriously, and they agreed with this statement, it is true. If this is the case, then the possibility is very high, and Locke is very concerned about these. I understand what's going on. To be honest, the current Omega Beast, or in other words, after reaching the level of Omega Beast, it is no longer a top powerhouse, but a strategic and threatening weapon, just like some kind of mushroom egg. Because of this, what is the situation with such a special weapon? It must be to let people know that you have it, not to hide it, after all. Something happened. But, if you show up and tell people that you have such power, then they will understand. If you dare to take action against someone like you, then what will happen, in fact? Locke for world government, superpower, and the Dark Emperor. Of course, there are not many superpowers and Dark Emperors in this world. There are 7 superpowers in total, including Alabasta and Wanokuni, which have begun to decline, plus the Dark Emperor. There are 9 people in total, and 9 people plus world government, the owner of top combat power like Omegamon. As for the world government, to be frank, from Locke's point of view, the world government must be stronger than the owner. This is absolutely beyond doubt. This is not something that needs to be doubted, you know. The power of the world government is something that absolutely does not need to be doubted. In the face of Locke's attack, IM is still calm. It can be seen that the two sides are not fighting at the same level. Only in this way, then it will be calm, otherwise. There is no reason for this, it's calm and calm. So, sometimes, the water of this sea is very deep. Very deep. Never think that you have seen it all, the so-called revolutionary army, the so-called 4 emperors, the so-called 7 warlords of the sea. Actually, in the eyes of these real big shots, it's just the vicissitudes of the world. Otherwise, everything is beyond doubt, and there is no need to have any doubts at all. These powerful people are really watching quietly. This world is a powerhouse of peace and change, and that's why, doesn't the world government want to rule the entire world? Of course it wants to. But, even if it wants to, it still hasn't done such a thing. This point is unquestionable. This is what the other party has to do, and this is the fundamental core, because the forces outside this world are not weak in themselves. If they gather together, even the world government will easily be overwhelmed. Under such a situation, then, the fundamental core is that there is no need to say more, anyway. Locke himself is very calm, and the Whitebeard pirates have just started, and this is what they have reached in a year. Degree. Joke. Lousy will at least be 13 royal knights in the future, okay. And Locke pointed to the big screen and said, okay. Little guys, don't worry so much, just keep watching, soon. You can see what the next result will be. Everyone is watching obediently, and the Omega Beast has already arrived at the lion head on the bow of the Sphinx at an extremely fast speed. Who is that? Not War Greymon and Steel Geruruman. It feels like a very strange person. Yes. Everyone is very strange, they are curious to see the Omega standing there suddenly, they feel very strange. After all, they don't know the Omega, and the people who saw the battle are not familiar. The battle Greymon and Steel Geruruman suddenly became strange. It's not right. Isn't this a bit too weird? After all, it wasn't the Edward brothers who made the move, they definitely guessed it, and it turned out that it wasn't the battle Greymon and the Steel Geruruman. What does this mean? What do you think? Are you Whitebeard pirates so arrogant? Not at all. Put your opponent in the eye. No matter what they think, Omegamon just quietly looked at the pirate ship that was gradually galloping below, but said calmly, Master Locke said that it takes 3 minutes for the other party to arrive. And for you, 3 minutes. 30 seconds is enough. Court death. Do it. And the burly man headed by the head was instantly angry, joking. Who do you look down on? 12 of them shot at the same time, but Omegamon just waved his hands indifferently, and his left and right hands turned into weapons at the same time, while the Tyrannosaurus sword and Garuru cannon but it emerged at the same time, followed closely behind, a sharp light flashed across the eyes, and the astonishing aura jumped up and rushed towards the other party in an instant. Brush. The speed was extremely fast, and in this short period of time, there were many fatal scars on their chests, followed by them, just like dumplings. How did they get up and how did they fall? Go. And fell on his own pirate ship again. Drops of terrifying blood flowed out from the wound on his chest. The terrifying injury seemed to tell everyone how terrifying the Omega Beast was. The Omega Beast just glanced at the 12 people indifferently, with cold eyes, and then stood quietly, waiting for the Sphinx to gallop over. At this time, the Night Beast came from the Sphinx. It fell down overnight, and made up the knife very calmly. According to the power of the Omega Beast, it no longer needs any experience points. From the experience point alone, it has reached an ultimate. Next, for the Omega Beast, it wants to become stronger, then. There are only two ways. One can master the power of Omegamon Zwart by comprehending the power of darkness, and one can master the power of Omegamon Alter S by comprehending the power of special will. This is Omegamon Alter S, the core of Megamon, or Locke got the power of the X antibody, or in other words, Locke can get the power of the other 6 badges, so Omegamon can evolve and master the X antibody to become Omegamon X type, or Omegamon compassionate form. Generally speaking, this is the case anyway, and the experience points are useless. It is different for Night Beasts. Although there is no Night Soul, Night Beasts can still evolve, but their strength is weaker. After the Night Soul is supplemented, then it will go further and become a real beast. The Royal Knights is it. Worth to talk about. The experience value of the Night Beast is really very large, and the accumulation of less makes more, although no suitable opponent has been defeated, but it has gradually reached 98% of the experience value, after all. There is a bug in the experience value acquisition from Locke. Experience points cannot be obtained from Omegamon, and experience points cannot be obtained from Omegamon. 0. Seeking flowers. But everyone else in the family is fine. In a very natural situation, the Night Beast defeated his brother, and then the experience value was 90% in one breath. No. Then after absorbing the guys in front of him a little bit, as for the strong quasi-admiral, the Night Beast did not absorb, even if it is basically 98%, the distance from evolution is really very close. All said, this is the fundamental core of evolution. As for the little ones at home, they have all been brushed once. Wait until these little guys continue to get stronger and then brush again, or brush the outside world. After dealing with these guys, the experience value has reached 99%. To be honest, the current Night Beast can basically evolve, it just needs to add some experience points. It is really very easy. As for the Quasi-Admiral and Strong, of course, it is left to the Elasticity Beast. Elastic Beast has not absorbed any experience points during this time. Now, kill these Quasi-Admirals. Moment. Terrible data burst out directly, and Elastic Beast has ushered in the light of terrifying evolution. It is undeniable. The evolution speed of Elastic Beast is called a fast. And it is not ordinary evolution, or it's not an evolution anymore, but a double jump, a triple jump, a quadruple jump. A juvenile Elastic Beast, a tube fox in the growth stage. 0. A mature Ripple Beast. Do not. This is still unacceptable. It has just evolved into a Ripple Beast, and the light of evolution is sounding again. After all, it is a veteran Quasi-Admiral Strongman, and it is infinitely close to Admiral. And such a strong man, if you are careless, it is not a problem to face the Omegamon with more than 10 or 20 moves, because of this. Now, it is very normal for the Elastic Beast to absorb the experience points and directly evolve into a Qilin Beast of the Vice Admiral level matter. Buzz. The beautiful Qilin Beast emerges when the light dissipates, and Qilin Beast can exert stronger power. After all, it is a Holy Beast type Digimon. It is very normal for this type of Digimon to exert stronger strength, while Locke looked at all this with a smile. It's really good. With a smile all over his face, Locke really didn't expect it through the big screen. Good guy. Good guy. I haven't got the devil fruit yet, and it turned out. This has already started to earn blood. This is really blood earning. The experience value of the Night Beast has reached 99%. If there is no accident, it will soon be able to evolve. Although, the last 1% of the experience value is more difficult, but it is not difficult, that is, it is a little more, and it is not speaking of the sum that is equivalent to the previous 99%, it is equivalent to 4% to 5% at most, which is almost the same. Besides, Elastic Beast has now evolved into Qilin Beast in one breath, which means that another Vice Admiral level powerhouse has succeeded, and the strength of Qilin Beast must be stronger than the ordinary Vice Admiral level. Locke's smile became more and more intense, full of smiles. Not just Locke, everyone present was very happy. The stronger everyone in the family is, the happier everyone is. After all, if the strength of Uncle's Digimon becomes stronger and stronger, everyone will feel very happy. Locke smiled and said, the harvest this time is really huge. To be honest, when I first came here, I didn't expect that I would absorb so much experience points. This is indeed very exciting. Locke is also full of smiles, no matter how you say it. Just kidding, my own Royal Knight is about to be born again. Although it is a Royal Knight without the soul of a knight, but compared to Battle Greymon and Steel Garuru, unlike the Royal Knights, which cannot evolve without the soul of a knight, beasts are absolutely different. At the very least, Night Lords and beasts can evolve. Locke squinted his eyes, thinking secretly in his heart. Next. Continue to wait. I don't know which Digimon will be born next. He. Locke's smile is very strong. The sooner the 13 royal knights are bred, that is the most joyful thing for me. Of course, I must protect my family. In the future, I will leave after all, maybe hundreds of years later, maybe thousands of years later, but I will leave one day after all. Before that, I will build the family into an iron wall, and at that time, I will not care about anything when I leave. Chapter 101. Stussy. Will you give it? Do not give. Give it to me quickly. F*K. What the F*K did I see? Really? Quote. All the pirates widened their eyes in disbelief at this moment. What did they see? That was the 12 strong men who guarded Happy Island. How many people have been dealt with by these 12 strong men? What was the result? These 12 people did not make any moves, even said. They were killed by the Omega Beast directly like this. Although they said, they don't know what the name of the Omega Beast is, but the invincible strength it is almost displayed in front of everyone's eyes. As long as they are not idiots, they will know the absolutely terrifying strength of the other party. Gudong. Swallowing saliva almost instinctively, they looked at me and I looked at you, at this moment. They fell into complete silence, because they understood. For the Whitebeard pirates, what they have shown now, it seems that the power is out. No matter what the strength of your Happy Island is, then, there is no need to have any hesitation. Boom. Boom. And at this time, the Sphinx had already galloped over, just like that. In front of everyone's eyes, it smashed the pirate ship directly, and Omega, Knight, Keelin, just like that back to the interior of the Sphinx, everything is a looming gesture. It's as if nothing happened, or in other words, it seems that everything happened. This kind of weird feeling is the most bewildering feeling. It's too weird. Please, I just can't believe it, okay. All of a sudden, they all fell into silence and said nothing, as if they didn't know what to say, or in other words. They felt that no matter what they said was meaningless, they kept silent like this, and looking at the Sphinx that was getting closer, they all knew. 1, 2, 3. Happy Island. Today, I am afraid that the rules that have been adhered to for 40 or 50 years are about to be broken, and from this we can see how terrifying the strength of the Whitebeard pirates is. Omega Beast. From today onwards, it will tell everyone how terrifying its strength is. Not only that. The power of the Whitebeard pirates will also tell everyone how powerful this force is, and the Whitebeard see what is the status of the gang of thieves. No one knows. No one knows. No one dares to think about so many things, all in all. All of this is in front of us, and no one dares to say what the outcome of the follow-up will be, all in all. Just watch quietly like this. As for the war. Sorry. That was absolutely impossible, there were no idiots present, and Stussy was not an idiot either. Seeing the terrifying strength of the Whitebeard pirates, whatever they want, you, Stussy, just obediently take out the things and it's over. Be obedient and obedient, then. This matter is over. And what if you, Stussy, look like an invincible old lady and don't obediently obey? So, I just don't need to say more, I'm afraid. At that time, as long as you are not an idiot, you will know what the next result will be. According to the strength of the Whitebeard pirates, it seems that it is nothing to directly slaughter your entire Happy Island difficult thing, right? Be honest. The strength of the Whitebeard pirates has improved to a terrifying level, a monster level. Well, for Locke's D. Zebek, a monster at the level of Omega Beast, Locke calls it a monster level, and there is a monster level. The strong Admiral class is stronger than the ordinary Admiral class, but it has not yet reached the legendary level of Luogia, Newgate, and Shiki in the original book. As for the rest, needless to say, immediately, the Night Lord Beast evolved, it is a real Admiral level, plus a top Vice Admiral like Keelin Beast. As for Locke. Locke's strength cannot be judged in words, because Locke's the situation is very special, and Locke's strength in various aspects are also very special, if the calculation is correct. Then, there is no need to doubt Locke's strength in various aspects. After all, although Locke said, because of his combat experience, combat skills, problems in all aspects of combat, being able to exert 70% or even 60% of your own strength is already a good thing, but there is one thing you absolutely must. What needs to be clear is, even if Locke's strength is only 70% or even 60% of his own, but this does not mean that Locke is weak, on the contrary. Locke is still very terrifying. Because Locke's strength is the sum of all Digimon in his family, in other words. His own strength is equivalent to the sum of Omega plus Keelin plus Knight, and this is Locke's strength, I'm afraid. It's no longer necessary, isn't it too much to say? Such a terrifying strength. As long as you are not an idiot, you will be very clear about what kind of terrifying power this is, then. As long as you are not an idiot, you can see it very clearly. Only, Locke really seldom makes shots, even saying. Almost can't make shots, it's unnecessary. Let's not say that Locke's own character is just lazy, he's really not interested in fighting, other than that. Locke's attitude toward these, it's just an attitude of not caring, let's talk about it. There are so many people in the family. You don't even talk about your brother's situation, and there are Omega Beasts in your family, good guy. The beast was directly defeated, so the essential meaning of Locke's not making a move is actually not very big. After all, if it really comes to that situation, it is basically just waiting to die. So say it. What is the real strength of Locke? No one knows. It is even said that when the Whitebeard pirates were sorted out on the sea, in fact, many times, Locke's strength is not calculated, because Locke's strength it is in such a special situation, if you calculate it. It seems that it is really unnecessary to some extent. After all, everyone is very clear, if you can really destroy the entire Whitebeard pirate group, then the impact of Locke alone is not big. And if you don't have the power to destroy the Whitebeard pirate group, then even if you target Locke, it is meaningless. This is the fundamental reason. Snapped. And Stussy, who was walking on the road, naturally knew what happened in the distance, because of this. At this moment, she was completely silent, and there were a total of 12 agents of the CP organization. Their strength is absolutely it is an undoubted thing, coupled with such a long time on the sea, it has been further tempered, and in the end, it was all disposed of like this. To be frank, Stussy is a bit unacceptable now, she never imagined that the Whitebeard pirates are really so terrifying, just. Stussy took a deep breath, and then exhaled a wisp of thick smoke, covered by clean white with a wisp of fragrance. The thick smoke covered her face, and Stussy knew it. Now I don't have time to think so much. Because of what? Not so much because of what. I just can't think so much, I'm not an opponent at all. Or, it is impossible for the world government to send so many strong people to deal with this matter because of its own problems. This is absolutely impossible. The strength of the Whitebeard pirates is too strong. It can't be handled at all, and it's so powerful. It's definitely not something that can be dealt with in a short time, but something that takes a long time to deal with, and because of this, to put it bluntly, thousands of words can be gathered into one sentence. Stussy knows, today I was stumped. No matter what I think, no matter what the Whitebeard pirates want to do today, I must achieve it. Otherwise, according to the strength of the Whitebeard pirates, even today they will directly destroy Happy Island. Then, the world government, the 5 elders, their immediate boss, will definitely not do anything, because it is not worth it. A lot of information has come, and Stussy's status as the underground emperor can let the 5 elders know a lot, but these are not worth mentioning to the 5 elders. That's right. Although speaking like this really makes people feel very timid and even very helpless, but this is a fact. For 5 elders, even if Stussy is lost, as long as he thinks about it, he will always be there. Can continue to cultivate this problem. It has never been a big problem, it is very easy to deal with it. What about the Whitebeard pirates? Undeniably said. The Whitebeard pirates are a bit strong now, and it takes too much experience to deal with the Whitebeard pirates. Under such circumstances, then, losses and gains are outweighed by gains, and the most important thing is. What's more, according to 5 elders analysis, the Whitebeard pirates will not become a big threat, because there are some things that others don't know, but 5 elders do. Therefore, according to intelligence, they can judge very different news, so say. Stussy knows whether he can live today. In fact, it depends on himself, other people. Anyone is meaningless. Want to live, go on. You can only rely on yourself. Others are definitely not acceptable. Breathing out a deep breath of smoke again, Stussy's expression is still very calm, she is very clear about how she is going to deal with it, and she can see very clearly about her own status. All considerations are very clear. Stussy. She is definitely not a person who relied on the world government to achieve this level, on the contrary. Stussy does not rely on the world government, but relies on her own ability to be slick, good at dancing, and talking to people. Otherwise, no one really thinks that Stussy can reach such a level simply by relying on the support of the world government, and it is only secretly supported, right? Impossible things. It's so easy there. All of this depends on Stussy's own ability. This is not. Although it is said that the war around Happy Island is over, and in just 4 minutes, Stussy has come to the edge of Happy Island. When she came here, she still had that smile on her lips, as if it was as if nothing had happened just now, but just looking at this scene, everyone present couldn't help nodding secretly. It's really scary. It's really Stussy. It's really a scary woman. I have to admit that Stussy is a very scary no matter in any aspect, even a very scary woman. This woman sees many things very clearly, and she sees very clearly. She knows what she is doing when should I do something, but also know how to do it. These definitely other things people don't understand. After all, for an arrogant person, being bullied all of a sudden, this. Who can bear it? It's like a joke. That's absolutely impossible. Lousy was bullied like this. Impossible. No, absolutely unacceptable. Today's tone is definitely unbearable. I definitely want revenge. This is basically everyone's thoughts, or at least 80% of people's thoughts. But Stussy is a person who can bend and stretch. She knows very well that it is the best result to bow her head obediently in the face of the Whitebeard pirates. Otherwise, that is the act of killing. For these, Stussy sees clearly. Clatter, clatter. And with the sound of churning waves, Stussy took a step back, looking at the Sphinx gradually approaching. It is undeniable. Damn. Is it too huge? It's simply too big and scary. Okay. This is not a pirate ship at all, it's like an island. It's not as simple as a sea city. Although it is very scary to look at it from a distance, but when it really appears in front of your eyes, that is the real emotion. How terrifying and huge is this? It is impossible to describe in words how huge such a terrifying monster is. He. With a smile, Stussy was very gentle, and said softly, Brother Edward. Welcome to the two of you. The people around are silently looking at the scene in front of them. I have never seen it before. It is true that I have never seen it before. I am not joking, each of them has really never seen the scene in front of them. This scene, no joke. Stussy will appear in this scene. Good guy. Is this the power brought by strength? It is simply unimaginable. That woman named Stussy would do such a thing, it is simply unimaginable. Is it good? For this woman who looks like she is always smiling, 2.5 is actually like a queen who is always smiling. He said with a smile. According to Stussy's character, the attack would be very ruthless without a doubt. There is no need to doubt it at all. Result. Now what? He. You don't need to think about it to know what it means. Stussy has been subdued, and she has never been subdued. This person who has been the underground emperor for decades, she knows. I have to do this, otherwise, what greets me is death. Click, click. The huge lion head on the bow of the Sphinx slowly opened, followed by the stairs extending from it and landing on the island. Well, it is worth mentioning. There are two ways to land on the Sphinx. The first. Then of course it goes without saying that opening the two front legs allows the pirate ship to sail directly, and the second method is within the bow, which is how it will be. When there are stairs, you can walk out directly through the stairs, and as the brothers Locke and Newgate walked out, everyone present became silent in an instant. It was very quiet, everyone seemed to be honest, they all stood obediently, motionless, it seemed very interesting. The corner of Locke's mouth curled into a smile, looking at Stussy in front of him, he suddenly said interestingly, Stussy. Will you give it, or say, you don't intend to? Give it, don't give it, or is it better to give it to me quickly? Locke spoke with a smile, and as Locke spoke, the atmosphere around him became weird in an instant. Chapter 102, 3-day trip to Happy Island. Stussy atmosphere. 100 skinny horse maids will give it away as soon as they say it. The atmosphere became unusually quiet, and even said, it gave people a very weird feeling, as if. It seemed weird. What happened? All of a sudden, everyone was caught in the silence, they always felt that there seemed to be something wrong with them. Good guy. Good guy. Everyone looked at Locke and Stussy strangely, and they fell into silence. Could it be that these two people had an affair? If they really had an affair, that would be too exciting, after all. Just now Locke, what I said was too deceptive, no matter how you look at it, it is obvious that there is a problem. This is really not a joke, but a real problem. He. After a short period of stiffness, Stussy showed a smile on the corner of his mouth, spit out a wisp of green smoke, and said softly, Mr. Locke, if you say that. There seems to be nothing wrong, after all. I am Happy Island, that's the place, though. Are you a little too anxious? F***K. Locke was stunned for a moment, although it was only for a moment, he immediately recovered, MMP. Good guy, you are an old driver. I was just making fun of it, but it turned out to be the other way around. Sure enough. Compared with these old drivers, I am still too young. Locke shook his head silently, and said secretly, forget it. Forget it. It's better not to waste time with this old driver. Locke then smiled and said, Stussy, can you give us the phoenix fruit we want? Phoenix fruit. Everyone immediately reflected, it turned out to be the case. The Whitebeard pirates came because of this incident. It is true that many people know about the upcoming auction, and since they know it, there is no need to say more. Everyone understands very well that since the other party came here for the phantom beast species, and this phantom beast species was originally one of the gimmicks at the auction, but these are not important. Now, some big guys have already rushed to the fruit of the phoenix, and looking at the 07 family, the meaning is very obvious. They don't plan to spend money at all, they just plan to buy it for 0 yuan, so I say. You Stussy give if you don't give it. If you give it, then it's a shame, and if you don't give it. He. Then what you lost, Stussy, is not a person, but a life. And Stussy saw this very clearly, she smiled and said, of course. Mr. Locke, the phoenix fruit has already been prepared as a gift for you, this is a gift for the Whitebeard pirates, of course it's no problem, and since you're all here, let's play for a few days. The auction will be held in 3 days. I don't know if you two are interested. F***K. Everyone listened to Stussy's words, which was a shock. Good guy. Good guy. I really called him a good guy. Is this the big guy? That's really good at talking. Are you all like this? To be able to say such a thing is simply shocking. Originally, the other party came to rob, but in the end, you said that it was a gift that you had already given, and you invited the other party to be a guest by the way. Come to Happy Island to play. MMP. Now everyone understands. No wonder Stussy's status is so high. Look at his ability, and then look at his own. He. That's just like a joke, so say it. There are some things you don't admit. It's really not good, it's really not the same level. As for the 12 pirates that were wiped out, don't make trouble, although it means that anyone with eyes can see that they are the subordinates cultivated by Happy Island, but how should I put it? The external name of that thing is 12 voluntary guardians of Joy Island licking dog. Since you are licking dogs, you are dead if you die. Does it have anything to do with Happy Island itself? So, these things are really difficult to say. Locke was dazed again, to be honest. Although I have 2 lives, but the sum of 2 lives is estimated to be in my 30s, compared with these shameless old guys, it is really incomparable. Even say, people can't help but feel that they originally planned to give it to me, but Locke's reaction was naturally extremely fast, and he smiled and said, then. Of course there is no problem, since this devil fruit is a gift if so. Then we accepted it bluntly. As for the big money after Wong Wei, that's fine, but it's okay to stay and play in Happy Island for a while. Of course, Locke doesn't have any other ideas, it's just that people have this attitude, if they don't stay and play for 2 days, it's not right, of course. It's also letting my brother at home mainly play for 2 days, as for these little guys in my family. But honestly, these little guys are all in their teens, and the youngest Enel is only 4 years old. Good guy, good guy. At this age, you want to come to the red light district to play. Isn't that just like a joke? So, I can only say that this is purely a joke. But it doesn't matter if you take a stroll. Anyway, the Happy Island here also has a lot of leisure facilities, besides. It's also very good to eat and drink with the ladies and sisters here. The most important thing is, all of this is free. Since it's free, it must be good, isn't it? Locke's smile is very strong, and seeing that Locke actually gave this face, and Stussy's smile is also very strong, no matter how you say it. As long as this face is given, then for Happy Island, it will bring the impact is not so big, after all. If you die, you will die 12 licking dogs, and your devil fruit is not taken away by others, it is just a gift that you have already prepared for others. Even though, what is going on with everything, people who should understand will still understand, but just change the words a little, then. But it is completely different. A lot of everything must be fundamentally different already, this. Absolutely beyond doubt. In general, Locke is still very satisfied with these, it is still very good. This matter. That's how it came to an end, while Locke and Stussy were walking on the road, and Belle followed behind them. As for Newgate, they had already gone. These things. Just kidding. In Newgate's words, let's leave it to my younger brother to deal with it. I am not suitable for handling these things, this is not suitable for me, anyway. Newgate is running away. Newgate used to be a frequent visitor to Happy Island. After all, everyone has a time when they were young. At that time, the Locke's pirates had just divided the money. Many times, although they said they would stay as the future startup capital, but I will still come out with money to play, and the world's largest red light district like Happy Island is definitely the place to come. And Locke calmly led Belle to follow Stussy, and although Stussy already knew that the last Lunaria on the sea had joined the Whitebeard pirates, when he actually saw it, he was still secretly said, sure enough, the prison ship was destroyed by the Whitebeard pirate ship. And this Lunaria family has joined the Whitebeard pirate group, and then, it will be troublesome. It is impossible to continue to study, but the blood that should be drawn is almost the same, as long as it is not wasted in the follow-up, it should be enough. Locke is not interested in what Stussy is thinking. As for whether Stussy is ambush himself, it's the same sentence. Don't look at Locke who seems to be weak, in fact. Locke is not weak at all, just the opposite seriously. Locke's strength is terrifying, this man is like a monster, not to mention. In Happy Island, no one can drop Locke in seconds, when that time comes. If you can't drop Locke in seconds. Feel sorry. The Omega Beast is about to start clearing the field, that's the same sentence. Essentially, Locke's strength is going to surpass that of the Omega Beast. It's just. How to say this thing? Embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Whether you admit it or not, what you have to admit is that Locke's strength is not as good as that of Omegamon. But, anyway, Locke thinks it doesn't matter. Small problems, whether they are serious or not, can be dealt with slowly in the future. This is not a big problem in itself. Mr. Locke. This way, Stussy, with a smile on his face, quickly brought Locke into the castle. Soon, he took out a treasure chest and said respectfully, Mr. Locke, you can take a look, here is the bird fruit. Phantom Beast _ Phoenix form. Locke picked up the treasure chest without even looking at it and handed it to Belle, smiling, of course Stussy is fine, I still trust your reputation very much. Belle didn't even look at it, just stood behind Locke, and seeing Locke's scene, Stussy's expression shrank slightly, her pupils shrank slightly, she just disappeared for a moment, just leaking a smile. Stussy is very clear that if Locke reads it, then everything will be over. However, if he does not read it, before the phoenix fruit appears, people can use this reason to come to trouble again. Although, Stussy thinks, according to the lawless character of the Whitebeard pirates may not be needed at all. Opening parenthesis exclamation mark. Since they still made such preparations and methods, it can be seen from this that their preparations are very sufficient. While Locke squinted his eyes slightly for these, with an indifferent smile in his heart, it's all about preparing a backhand a little bit. Generally speaking, it's okay not to be seen as a problem. As for everything else, of course it goes without saying. Anyway, Locke is very clear that even if the other party wants to do something, it is meaningless to deal with it like this, and on his own side. As long as he puts these away, it will be the best if there is no problem in the future. If there is a problem, that is to destroy without hesitation. He. Stussy still immediately smiled and said, "No matter what you say, Mr. Locke. Thank you for your trust. From now on, all the people in your Whitebeard pirates, no matter what kind of expenses they spend in Happy Island, will be free." To be frank, Stussy can see very clearly that Locke is not interested in these things, and what can Newgate do alone? As for the others, they are a bunch of brats, to put it bluntly. It doesn't cost much at all, if that's the case. Well, of course. Anyway, if Locke is Stussy, I guess it will be the same atmosphere, MMP. Originally, it doesn't cost much, so naturally. Of course, it can be a bit more atmosphere. Locke naturally knows about this Stussy too. I also know what Stussy's thoughts mean, but it's still the same sentence, it's just a matter of indifference. In or out, flower or not, it doesn't cost much, it's just. Stussy gave a big gift, and I accepted the gift, so. This thing has passed like this is. The horror brought about by strength. Obviously he is the one who is looking for trouble, but. Stussy wants to bow his head obediently, this is absolutely beyond doubt, to put it bluntly. Many people are like this, except for those major forces that have developed over a long period of time. Under other circumstances, it is basically the same as pediatrics at this time, you obviously don't have any. But you can only accept it passively, even if you are aggrieved. Then, you can only accept it. So, this C is like this, whether you admit it or not, then. This is something that must be admitted, that's the fact. And this C is in. Under such circumstances, then everything is already like this. Locke took Bell and left, while Stussy looked calm and said secretly, "It's really a scary man. This man." "Never mind." Stussy shook his head, and said calmly, "It's enough to report all the news accurately. There are more things that I can't participate in, this man. He really. It's too scary, and I'm not qualified to participate in it." Quote. To be frank, Stussy can see very clearly, and even more clearly, how terrifying this man is, and how amazing he is, and whether such a man has. What an astonishing power. Actually, this is self-evident, I am afraid. As long as you are not an idiot, then you are very clear about what this man is like. So, Stussy is too lazy to participate in this matter by himself, it is better to honestly hand over the situation to his immediate superior, as for the matter of the immediate superior. Then talk to yourself. It doesn't have much to do with yourself. You don't need to participate in it. Anyway, Stussy thinks that he is a part-time worker. Do he have to participate in this way as a part-time worker? If that's the case, that's the weirdest thing. Generally speaking, that's it, and as he walked out of the castle, Bell hesitated a little, as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. He. Seeing Bell like this, Locke said with a light smile, "Bell. Don't think so much, even though there is a very scary monster behind Stussy. But do you think that according to the monster's strength, it really cares about Stussy? Or, to them, Stussy is just a pawn arranged, if there is really a problem, then just replace this chess piece, it is so simple, although it feels very cruel to say this, but this is the truth." "Uncle, I see." Bell nodded earnestly, while Locke waved his hands and said, "Okay. You don't need to think so much, since you're staying in Happy Island for the past few days, then. Let's have a good time." "Alright, I'm going back to rest. I'm really tired." Locke really felt quite tired, he just didn't like this situation, and Bell looked at Uncle who was leaving with the phoenix fruit, looking at the joy in front of him. The island is also in deep thinking, do you want to play? This is a question worth thinking about. It is a question that needs to be taken seriously. Chapter 103. 5 Elders said, the Whitebeard pirates are best controlled. Advertise here. Go in. Standing at the door, looking at the feasting pavilions in front of them, Fosa, Skuyid, and Lakeo, the 3 little guys, looked at me and I looked at you, all fell into silence, they didn't know what to say. What, always feel. Is it not very good? Don't you dare. Who said it? Who do you look down upon? As soon as the 3 little guys heard this, they immediately became unhappy, and walked in with strides, but after going in, they went in, but when they came out again about 5 or 6 hours later, the 3 little guys' legs they were all swaying, their faces were pale, and their legs were swaying. Those who didn't know thought they were sucked dry when they encountered a female ghost. For these little guys, it's too exciting, really too exciting. The 3 little guys returned to the Sphinx, fell asleep, and slept for 2 days in one breath, and like these three little guys, there are actually many people, basically, one by one the little guy, as long as he is a man, almost all of them are like this. After all, for these little guys, they have finally come to Happy Island, and if they don't come to have fun, it will be the strangest thing. However, Locke gave the order to die. It's okay for them to have fun, but it can't be too much. Well, it's a group of kids after all. If these kids play too much, it won't be good for their health. So, actually, although they said that they looked very tired, in fact, it was not a physical problem at all, but how to put it. The stimulation of the mind is really too great, and this kind of stimulation, compared with the stimulation of the body, in other words, it makes people more intoxicated, and even can't help being crazy, after all. The stimulation of the body is an instant thing, and for the women of Happy Island, they are better at stimulating the mind. What? Silently lying on the bed, Ah Bell was a little dazed, a picture of who I am, where I am, and what I am doing, such a feeling, let Ah Bell never have this feeling in his life. Shaking his head silently, Ah Bell stood up, his face turned pale, and his legs swayed. How should I put it? He looks much better than the other little guys, after all. Experienced since childhood. This thing is nothing to be proud of, but in general, Bell is still very relaxed, really relaxed and comfortable a lot, and let his state relax. A.B. Who? Taking a deep breath, Ah Bell whispered solemnly, you can't always come to such a place. Such a place is really too depressing, even to say. It will trap a person in this place forever inside. People gradually become puppets here, have time. Have money. Just want to come here. Ah Bell can see very clearly that he is a very outstanding child after all. For Ah Bell's determination is strong enough. These are nothing, and such means are very normal for Happy Island. One by one the souls of all people gradually fall into the Happy Island, and finally, they are completely swallowed by the Happy Island. This is the horror of the Happy Island. Does it sound strange? But the truth is, it is the power of Happy Island. Countless pirates, countless monsters, they count as one, and they will always be trapped in it. Under such circumstances, then, naturally, everything becomes completely different. This is the root of Happy Island. He exhaled deeply, and Bell also lay down, and soon fell into a deep sleep. 3 days. Time is just fleeting. 3 days. It can be said. In a short time, it has passed, and for these little guys in the Edward family, they are very happy to play, but most of them are because they are too exciting, so they more or less go straight to the top. All in all, most of them are like this, but on the other side, after 3 days, the game is almost the same, and everyone is ready to leave. And, at this time, snapped, accompanied by the sound of high-heeled shoes stepping on the ground, a figure of a tall woman walked over. It was Stussy, and she smiled gracefully. Mr. Locke, are you planning to leave? Locke looked at Stussy and nodded. Well, I really plan to leave. Is there anything else? Of course. Reach out and don't hit the smiling man. Although I know that Stussy is that kind of smiling tiger, but how do you say that? People are very happy to see you smiling. You can't go up and give him a slap, right? Let's talk about it. Whether it's the free eating and drinking for these 3 days or the phoenix fruit directly given to him, or other situations, no matter what Stussy plans in the future, these 3 days are really very bad. It's embarrassing, and I'm not too embarrassed to go too far. Stussy spit out a wisp of green smoke, and said with a smile, Mr. Locke. Well, I want to give you some small gifts alone, just some small gifts, not too many things. Locke looked at Stussy, nodded and said, tell me about it. What kind of gift is it? To be frank, Stussy specifically found Locke. In fact, in the eyes of many people who don't know, this is a very strange thing, very strange. It's also very weird, special. As for finding Locke, and is it a gift for Locke? But Stussy is a smart person, although it is only a brief contact, but Stussy is keenly aware of it. It is not right. It is not right. It is quite wrong. The relationship between the two brothers of Gate is very wrong, it should be said. Locke's status is too high. This is really not a joke. Locke seems to have a special status. Or, Stussy understands. For the man Newgate, what he pursues is different from the normal pirates, and under such circumstances, he is careless, coupled with the extreme trust in his family. It is natural, I understand. Although Newgate is the captain in name, but if nothing else, Locke is actually the one who has the final say on the entire Whitebeard pirates. Oh, what gift? Locke also looked at Stussy interestingly, but he wanted to see what kind of gifts this woman would prepare for him. Stussy smiled and said, Mr. Locke, I have prepared 100 little maids for you, take a look. No problem. Locke smiled and said, then I'll take it. F***K. To be honest, seeing that Locke accepted it without any hesitation at all, Stussy was a little stunned. After all, you know, this is a human being. It's not like a gift or devil fruit, gold and silver treasures. No, there will be any problems. At most it is possible to be monitored. Just search carefully. But what if this person is assassinated? What about wiretapping? These are huge problems. Result. Locke actually accepted it directly. This made Stussy didn't know what to say in the speech he had prepared, but Locke continued, since it is a gift prepared by Stussy, then. I believe it is definitely a boutique, no problem. Then I'll take it all. Exactly. There is no one in my villa except me, so they can clean the villa well when they come. It is good. He. Hearing Locke's blunt words, Stussy nodded with a smile. On the contrary, as long as you are satisfied, Mr. Locke, then of course it is the best thing. But, although, Locke agreed without hesitation, and his gift was very simple to send out, but Stussy felt terrified, even terrified. Many of the methods he had prepared before seemed to be necessary. Think carefully, otherwise, the possibility of major problems is very high. Stussy was dignified, thinking about these things secretly in his heart, finally. Shaking his head silently, forget it. Forget it. Let's put this matter aside for now, then smiled and said, Mr. Locke. This way please. You have a look, I will give your gift. No problem. Locke was smiling, followed Stussy, and soon came to a pavilion. Compared with other feasting pavilions, this pavilion seemed much cleaner. In the room, people were basically wearing clothes. The little maids dressed as maids stood there obediently one by one. There were no more or no less than 100 of them in total. Elder sister. Grown-ups. Seeing the arrival of the two, all 100 little maids spoke in soft voices. The voices were very melodious. For a moment, it was like a lark ringing in their ears, and Locke closed his eyes slightly comfortably, looking at the 100 little maids in front of me. They are really very beautiful, exquisite. Beautiful. It gives people the feeling of being a lady, not the kind of gaudy feeling with heavy makeup and light makeup, but the feeling of being a lady. Xiaojiabiyu. It gives people the impression that it is very comfortable at first glance, and it is also very beautiful, but it is indeed very comfortable. Besides, I really can't tell the age, but the appearance of these people is different. Some are similar to the Oriental people in my original world, and the Westerners in the original world. How should I put it? Some have snow white skin, some have normal skin, some have wheat-colored skin. Or to put it another way, this is a full 100 women from all over the world, basically as if they came from all over the world, and Stussy explained with a smile. Mr. Locke, these children are all from 100 destroyed the princess of the country. Every child is a princess, and they are all 16 years old now. They are all carefully selected, whether it is from piano, chess, calligraphy, painting or in every aspect, they are all perfect. Yongzhou skinny horse. Good guy. Good guy. Locke can see it. Isn't this the Yongzhou skinny horse? These are well cultivated. As for those abilities, needless to say, they all know what they are. How to serve the master, how to obtain information, how to assassinate your own master at a critical time, basically like this. But, Locke also has feelings for Stussy. This woman is really generous. She actually gave away a full 100 Yongzhou skinny horses in one breath, which is really shocking. However, Locke still nodded with a smile. Stussy, I'm satisfied, that's it. This 10. 0 Yang. Ahem, I just accepted the little maid as a gift. Quote. Mr. Locke, as long as you are satisfied. Stussy also smiled, turned his head and said, see your master. See master. Stussy watched Locke leave with these little maids, to be honest. It also hurts a little bit, just kidding. No one really thinks it's so easy to cultivate. It's exhausting. It took a lot of resources. Moreover, these little maids used to be princesses. This is really not a joke. The most important thing is, be honest. It is because they used to be princesses. They were not raised by themselves when they were young, but they were found in a perishing country. Although they seem to be obedient, but entered. Will they still be obedient after being under other people's hands? It's hard to say. As we all know, it's not bad if 40% of the little maids sent by Stussy are obedient. The remaining 60% are basically problematic. Therefore, this is the reason why Stussy's flesh hurts. It is very difficult to cultivate one, and the result. It turned out to be like this. In the end, Stussy spit out a wisp of green smoke, calmed himself down, shook his head silently and said, forget it. Forget it. If the old one doesn't go away, the new one won't come. This matter, for the time being. It's better to keep calm like this. Otherwise, try a little bit. If you can get a little bit of information, it's good, although. To be frank, Stussy looked at the huge Sphinx, and, according to Locke's shrewdness, it would be the strangest thing if this man couldn't guess, so. Stussy. Whether I can get back the information, or even say, whether the information I got back is true or not is a huge question. Elder sister. Spring, summer, autumn and winter all came behind Stussy, and Chun said softly, sister, the gift arranged this time, I'm afraid. It's all going to fail, these 100 maids. Their abilities are probably not enough. All right. Stussy raised his hand, calmly stopped Chun's words, and said quietly, some words. Just stop here, Li Nujiao, and it's not that we should continue to discuss. Let's go. There are still some things to deal with, after all. With the departure of the Whitebeard pirates, whether it is the start of the auction, or the Whitebeard pirates brought problems that need to be addressed. Quote. Yes. The spring, summer, autumn and winter followers Stussy left. 2. F*K. What is that? That, as expected of the Whitebeard pirates. They gave you so many gifts. Yes, everyone was very excited, especially after watching Locke bring 100 maids to the road. They were full of emotions. They were too excited for this. This gift is known to all of them. Happy Island has always had this situation, but usually, 1 is given away, 2 are given away, and if there are more, 10 or 8 are given away. For example, Locke gave away 100 in one go. That's really never seen. From here, it can be seen how amazing Locke is. He can make Stussy bleed. However, the follow-up. That depends on the follow-up. No one. Find out what happens next. But everyone knows that the matter between Happy Island and the Whitebeard pirates is bleeding from Happy Island, and this matter is over. As for whether others will provoking Happy Island, they just want to say, if you are in love, then you pay attention to yourself. You don't really think that the Whitebeard pirates look very. You can really do things that are so easy to do, right? Stop it. On the other side, Yang. The 5 elders of the world government are also discussing, no matter how many times they discuss it, in the opinion of the 5 of them, the Whitebeard pirate group is the best to control. The least dangerous pirate group. Exclamation mark. Because their essence is different from other pirates. Chapter 104. What the hell? He dares to shoot at me. Is he crazy? Doesn't he know my strength? Red line. World government. Mariajoy. Here, representing the center of world power. Here, even if you are not an idiot, you are very clear about how terrible power in this world is gathered here. In the whole world, countless high-ranking officials gather here, and among them, there are only 5 people at the top. They are honored as 5 elders, and they are gathered here at this moment, in this tall palace. The 5 people are either standing or sitting, and the one who coincides with each other is, everyone is full of indifferent look. You already know the news about Happy Island. One of the 5 elders with blonde hair spoke lightly. His voice was very calm, and because of this calmness, it seemed to verify that his calmness is the same as indifference. Another curly-haired 5 elders said lightly. The Whitebeard pirates stole the Phoenix fruit and killed 12 agents of the CP organization. However, this is nothing. In my opinion, Whitebeard pirates are still the easiest pirates to deal with, compared to the Luogia pirates who are looking for the truth of history, compared to the flying pirates who want to conquer the world, compared to other crazy pirates, they're arrogant, and the Whitebeard pirates are the easiest to deal with. Long-haired 5 elders also nodded indifferently. As for this, I also agree with it. In my opinion, the Whitebeard pirates are the easiest to deal with, and in this treatment, the Whitebeard pirates are at most it's just growing up a little bit and growing into a powerful force in this sea, the Edward family. What's more, the Edward family has the biggest problem internally. The blood is too scarce, and under such circumstances, there is no insufficient evidence. Good. The 5 elders were all discussing indifferently, while the bald 5 elders said indifferently, that special Digimon. It seems to have strength no less than that of Locke's, but it's okay. Strength, originally, it was nothing to us, but the Whitebeard pirates, I think it is most appropriate to maintain his balance. Let him walk on the opposite side of other pirates, and form another balance. The rest of the 5 elders nodded indifferently, and they agreed with this statement. Indeed. If only the Whitebeard pirates could be placed in a different position, making the Whitebeard pirates the opposite of the other pirates. Well, maintaining the balance of the Whitebeard pirate group also weakened other pirates. 420 even dealt with the Whitebeard pirate group. It is very simple to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Actually, for 5 elders, they really don't care what kind of strength you have. What can you do? It's meaningless. 800 years. It has been 800 years since I led 20 kings to establish the world government. Even with a history of 5,000 years, it only existed for 800 years, and the world government still maintained its apex after 800 years. What pirates? What superpowers? What dark emperors? What underground emperors? These are really not important things to the world government, or even. They were never taken seriously because too weak. Weak. It's just that kind of weak that's not worth mentioning. Therefore, after 800 years of accumulation, unless the whole world is united, it is no match for the world government at all. However, for the world government, if the pirates are disposed of, the damage, or the consumption caused by it is relatively big, otherwise, there is no need at all. This is the fundamental core reason. 2. For the world government, not to mention the Marine, CP organizations, and those hidden special troops. Among these forces, there are only the guards of the celestial dragons, and the knights of the gods belonging to IM. They are all admiral-level powerhouses. So, for 5 elders, strength is the most meaningless thing. Is a Locke's very strong? Not bad. Very strong. It is top-level power on the sea, and it is the same as Dinghai Shenzhen on all major forces they are strong, but for the world government, if it is not for maintaining balance, if they want to kill casually, they will kill. Is 1 admiral enough? Is 3 enough? 8 is enough. 12 is not enough. Is 15 enough? Is 20 enough? It's so simple. For such a behemoth, maybe. It is indeed difficult to cultivate a bug-level powerhouse of Locke's level. Without enough aptitude, it is almost impossible to grow up purely. What about the next level? What about the admiral level? Even in the original book, what about the legendary level that Newgate, Luogia, Shiki, Urin reached at their peak? He. For a world government that has accumulated resources, wealth, and treasures for 800 years, it is too easy, and there are too many loyal subordinates. For them, it is really not worth just mention it. Because of this, the easiest thing for the world government is power. What they need to consider is strategy, balance and these things, but power. To be honest, in their long lives, it's not worth mentioning at all. After all, the world government collects even pure gold, and the fundamental reason why they want to obtain op fruit is that they don't want this thing to be lost. It's better to keep the surgery of immortality in their own hands, so say. This is the fundamental core reason, and because of this is the power of world government. The power of an incomparably terrifying monster. You just understand that in the eyes of such a monster, being a mere strong person is meaningless at all, unless you say. You are so strong that you are not afraid of any difference in numbers, and you can rely on yourself the power to completely reverse the whole world. In this way, 5 elders will feel that your strength is unparalleled, otherwise. For 5 elders, it is meaningless. All right, all in all, 5 elders with a knife said lightly, this matter is very easy to handle, and the Whitebeard pirates don't need to care about it. Linlin, Akoku, John, Silver Axe, Kaido, the 5 of them have formed an alliance against the Whitebeard pirates, but these are all hidden under the calm. We just need to let this kind of thing explode a little bit. Seconded. The discussion about the Whitebeard pirates has been settled in this way, or that sentence. In other words, that is the simplest thing. For the 5 elders, all they want to maintain is balance. As for whether a person is strong or not, it's really not that important. Admiral-level powerhouses can be cultivated for the world government. They cannot be said to be mass-produced, but it is definitely enough to be cultivated, just because they need to maintain the 4 Cs, the Grand Line, and the Red Line piece in all aspects, so it has never been shown. Second, even if it is a legend-level powerhouse, it is normal to cultivate 3 to 5, or even 7 or 8 in each era, or an era for 100 years. The third, it is the last bug level. For the world government, it is still normal to cultivate 1 or 2 people in each era. This is a very normal thing. This is enough, and because of this, as long as you are not an idiot, you will understand. The discussion of 5 elders, other people are naturally not clear, but at this moment on the Sphinx, everyone is looking at everything in front of them with curiosity, alas. What is this? 100 maids at Locke's villa. It seems that Locke's villa can't fit in, right? Actually, Locke only uses 1 villa, with Locke as the center, surrounded by a group of 10 villas in total. This is Locke's own manor, this is the whole manor, it can be said. This is a whole, and here will be the place where 100 little maids live. Quote. Newgate didn't care, and asked directly, is there no problem? To be frank, these 100 little maids, as long as they are not idiots, they are very clear that there is something wrong with this shit. And they are still the very problematic type. No kidding, under such circumstances, in the end you and I'm doing this. Isn't this a joke? So, it's unnecessary if the spies report the information. Locke waved his hand and said, it's nothing to worry about, anyway, it was sent by Stussy, so let's keep it, let's talk about it. It is impossible for a phone bug to report from inside the Sphinx, and they are here obediently. The maid is ready. Locke waved his hand indifferently, he was very calm about these things, just kidding. If you can't even guess these things, that would be the strangest thing. Listening to Locke's words, Newgate's mouth twitched slightly, and he nodded and said, that's fine. You have the final say, as long as you don't get killed in your sleep again. Forehead. Locke was taken aback, looked at his brother and complained, brother, do you think I'm an idiot? Or do you think I'm so weak? How is it possible? Just these little guys, give them a hand, it's impossible to do it with the supreme sharp knife, that's okay. That's okay. It's not a big problem in itself, it's just a group of little girls, if there is a problem, it's our problem instead. Right. Newgate also expressed his calmness about this, while Locke returned to the villa with the 100 little maids in his family, and said, what about you? If you want to report, you can try it and see the phone bug, is it useful, if it is an assassination? You can come directly, but let me just say that you can't kill me. If you assassinate me, then you will die here, so I say. Think about it for yourself. Finished. Locke just turned around and entered the room, take a rest. Ready to sleep, sleepy. Locke left, and the remaining little maids looked at me and I looked at you one by one, they were lost in confusion, how should I put it? These little maids were once princesses, it can be regarded as being forced to be trained by Stussy, but this time, they also know about the mission. Many little maids took out the phone bug and started to make calls. The result, needless to say, they simply couldn't make calls. Joke. To put it bluntly, the phone bug is just a kind of signal, just a kind of data. If you have other abilities, you may be able to use it a little bit, but this kind of ability, especially in Laozi's own home base camp, if you succeed in the end. What do you mean? Do you think Laozi is an idiot? Or, do you think lousy is a piece of trash? Anyway, Locke thinks. This really made you successful again, then lousy is really. You can die, you just look down on me. So, after the experiment failed, I took another look at the residences of Omega, Keelin, and Night. The little maids began to look at their houses in a short period of silence. It doesn't matter, there is nothing I can do anyway, what can I do? This is not something I can handle. So, this TM situation is very embarrassing, since what? If you can't do anything, why don't you just be a little maid obediently and obediently? Second day, owner. Locke raised his head, looked at the fair-skinned, beautiful and long-legged little maid standing in front of him, then twitched the corners of his mouth amusedly, and said with a light smile, no problem, no problem. To be frank, I don't resist this kind of enjoying life. Just kidding, don't discuss so much with me, since Lousy has come to this world, he still has to adapt, besides. Alright, who would want to do those things if they could enjoy them? Locke got dressed and walked out of the room under the service of the little maid, and saw a very clean palace. The 10 villas inside the palace were all very clean. And some of the hundreds of little maids are busy, some are working, and some are getting ready for morning. Midday. Breakfast. They are gradually bringing them over. Owner. Please eat. This is a young maid with wheat-colored skin, who looks very healthy. Locke sat down and enjoyed the food quietly, nodding in approval, it is really quite good. As expected, Stussy has cultivated a very good little maid in every aspect, at least in terms of cooking, it is really good enough, this is really not a joke. Lol, the level of this cuisine is really shocking, and it is also because it is too good. Definitely high class. Locke narrowed his eyes comfortably, with a very rich smile, and then said approvingly, good job. Since you don't have any other ideas, then, right here. Live a good life, as my little maid, there won't be any problems. Quote. Yes, owner. Locke nodded calmly, then casually pointed to a blonde maid and said, you come to bed tonight. And you. Looking around again, Locke nodded to a little maid with a very obvious third brother's beauty style, it's you. You two are going to bed tonight, Exclamation mark. Locke began to enjoy the shameless life. Yes. There is no dissatisfaction with the two little maids. They have maintained a clean body since they were raised at the beginning. This is beyond doubt, after all. Yongzhou skinny horse. Yongzhou skinny horse. From the beginning of training, it is the most advanced gift or commodity, and if they want to lose their clean bodies, then the price is worthless, or the author said that the meaning of being a gift is completely different. After enjoying the food, Locke calmly returned to his room and started playing games. As for the little maids, they were busy with their own business. Just rest or just keep calm and wait for Locke's order. As for whether they have other thoughts, Locke's idea is, it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter whether you have any, or that sentence. There is a problem. If you show it, I will kill you, and you can live honestly. Such a life is peaceful. Only, just after leaving Happy Island, everyone in the Edward family didn't know that they had been targeted, and a huge ship was heading straight for the Sphinx at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 105. Royal Knights, Night Lord Beast. Advertise here. Fire. Fire. Asshole. Following the roar of anger, the man in the gorgeous costume standing on the ship gave an order angrily, his eyes were flickering with terror, that one looked quite handsome the face, at this moment, looked so ferocious, and roared. These damned pirates. How dare these humble children dare to attack my devil fruit? That is the devil fruit I have my eyes on. Fire me. Yes. The guards didn't dare to refuse anything, although they knew that they were facing the Whitebeard pirates, but they could only passively choose to attack when faced with the order of their own prince, because they knew very well that if you dare to refuse, then what is waiting for you will be death, and they have no way to refuse, let alone. The strength of the Whitebeard pirates is blowing, who knows what the Whitebeard pirates are like. So, there is still a slight possibility of surviving when attacking, and if you do not choose to attack, then it is absolutely impossible to survive. Search. Search. Boom. Boom. The roar of artillery fire fell on the Sphinx in an instant, and the deafening roar resounded through Setsuna, and with the sound of artillery fire resounding throughout, the entire Whitebeard pirate group fell into silence at this moment. Everyone inside the Sphinx, including the brothers Locke and Newgate, looked up in a daze. What happened? What happened? What? Locke was eating. Hearing the roar of artillery fire, he almost couldn't hold back his breath and spit out the food in his mouth. He quickly took a sip of the wine and smoothed it out. Then he patted his chest. Cough, cough, cough. Locke was coughing violently, stopped after a while, and said in astonishment, my mother. What's the situation? What's the matter? What's going on? What's the problem? What's going on? To be frank, Locke is stunned. I never heard of any powerful pirate ships or warships coming towards him. In the end, the sound of attack came out. What's going on here? To be honest, Locke was not so shocked when he was attacked. This is not a strange thing. After all, the Whitebeard pirates are more or less ostentatious now, and they have many opponents, so it is not surprising to be attacked, but the problem is. The strange thing is, I have never heard of anyone coming straight to my side today. In other words, this is an attack by an unknown person. Actually, the Sphinx, in normal times, for those pirate ships, or other ships, even warships, passing by, as long as you don't make trouble, people on your side will not those who take the initiative to find trouble or simply like a joke, after all. My own family is not a murderer, and everyone who passes by without incident is slaughtered. This is impossible. So, Locke understands that this is the sudden attack by the passers-by, otherwise. It is impossible to be like this, which is very unscientific. Regarding such a situation, Locke stood up, put down the tableware in his hand, and walked away go out. Snapped, snapped. Locke left quickly, and the little maids were tidying up obediently. Some of the little maids still had some ideas, but, looking at the positions of Omega and Keelin, she shook her head silently and said secretly, forget it. Forget it. It's good to be a maid for the master honestly in the future. At the very least, this kind of life is really good, and it's better not to make trouble casually. Shaking her head silently, these little maids are also honest and well behaved, because they are very clear that if they dare to have other ideas, it is not a problem to have this idea, after all. They were originally arranged to come this mission, but, if they really dare to take action, then, they will definitely die in the first time, absolutely don't doubt it, this is absolutely beyond doubt. First timing. Moment. They will die, so I said. The little maid studied it, forget it. Forget it. It's better not to think so much, it's a bad thing if they die, so I said. It's better to be honest, after all. That way no major problems arise. As for the thoughts of the 100 little maids in his family, Locke didn't need to guess, he knew it with his eyes closed, so he was not interested at all, but walked out directly, and soon came to the other side of Newgate's court minister. Locke just walked in and asked directly, brother, what's going on? Newgate shook his head, and said in astonishment, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, I asked Bell to take a look, and I haven't heard of anyone attacking. To be frank, now Newgate and Locke are in the same situation. They are very confused and do not understand. There is no reason. Someone has launched an attack on us out of nowhere. This, seriously, as long as there is a little thought, that is incomprehensible, completely unacceptable. Brothers, you look at me, I look at you, it's all out of this ignorant state. Mainly, even if the two of them thought about it, they still didn't understand what was going on. Oops. Locke rubbed his eyebrows and complained, really. I also have a problem with my head, and I forgot about it. Talking. Locke waved his hand, and the big screen in front of him appeared in an instant, and he couldn't help complaining, really. My brain. I'm really a little confused, I forgot my ability, but I want to see what's going on. The big screen opens immediately. To be frank, Locke and his elder brother are both stunned and unable to understand. The main thing is that they can't even imagine what is going on. Why did they suddenly launch an attack? Why? What do you think? Why would he dare? I don't understand. Damn. He dared to attack me. He dared to attack the Whitebeard pirates. This is AF asterisk king outrageous thing. Anyway, Locke said that he could not understand, but for a moment he was so confused that he even forgot about his own abilities. It turned out to be quite embarrassing. Locke turned on the big screen, and the ship in front of him, the ship immediately emerged. Locke rubbed his chin, thinking, this should be a ship of some country. But, it's even more weird to say that. F asterisk K. Why did he dare to attack us? Why? What are you thinking? I can't accept it. It's not right. I can't understand it. Seriously. I don't blame Locke for swearing. I really don't understand. What is this person thinking? Don't you really think that the Whitebeard pirates are weak? Or say, the Whitebeard pirates are blown out, right? This is how outrageous TM is. Daddy, Uncle, Bell also came over at this time, a little dazed, and said in astonishment, I'm a little dazed now. I'm even a little dazed, I don't know what's going on at all, I don't know what's going on, this is the prince of a country, but I don't know why he suddenly attacked us Whitebeard, and the last thing I can understand is, why did he dare to attack? To be frank, not only my father and uncle, but Bell also looked confused, unable to understand. Completely incomprehensible and unacceptable, what is the situation? Actually, not just the Whitebeard pirates. The Sphinx has not completely left, and the distance it is now is about 1,000 meters away. If it is replaced by other pirate ships, it must be almost the same, but of course, the people of Happy Island also saw this. Things happened, and they were completely shocked for a while. What the hell? What happened? Why? Someone launched an attack. F asterisk K. MMs. Oh my god, are you crazy? After a brief shock, those pirates who originally thought there was no excitement to watch widened their eyes instantly. They looked into the distance in disbelief, full of expressions of disbelief. My god, what's going on? What is this ship thinking? It launched an attack on the Whitebeard pirates. Does he feel that he is impatient? I can't understand. Is this person a human? No. Does he have a brain? As long as it is a creature, it can't do such a thing if it has a brain, right? F asterisk K. These pirates couldn't help but started complaining, they really couldn't help it. This is outrageous. They really can't accept it, it's too weird, and they can't understand it at all. What's the situation? These guys really don't have brain problems. Wrong. Even if you have a brain problem, you won't do such a thing. This is really provoking the Whitebeard pirates. But anyone with a brain can't do such a thing. Unless, this person has no brains at all, in other words. As long as a creature is unable to do such a thing, and looking at the current situation, to be honest. Everyone is more or less blinded, they have a kind of unacceptable, always I feel very strange, and it's an extremely weird feeling. I don't know what to say. Snapped. The cigarettes in Stussy's hands were all dropped on the ground, she just came out to take a look, and after watching the Whitebeard pirates leave, she was going to prepare for the next auction. But Stussy never dreamed that she would seeing such a thing, can't understand. No, it's just unbelievable. Why did he dare to do this? Attack. An attack on the Whitebeard pirates. Stussy's face was full of bewilderment, and he was full of disbelief. He couldn't understand, let alone accept, what was the reason for this, and he couldn't even imagine what the reason for this situation was. But as long as you have a brain, you can't do such a thing. 0. Seeking flowers. DJ. That's the truth. Stussy didn't just do it, he even said it. Stussy did it terribly. Anyway, Stussy couldn't accept it at all. Snapped. She lit a cigarette again, and murmured, "It's over. It's over. This country is completely over. Definitely over. A country that can't survive 3. To be frank, others can't tell whose boat it is, but Stussy definitely recognizes it. This is Shinshi. A country in the world, called the ship of the British Empire, but just because he knew whose ship it was, Stussy felt that it was even more outrageous. Why? Why did you choose to ship it? How about launching an attack? Do you think your country is okay? You are just a member country. No. You are not even a franchise country. You applied this year, and you need to become a franchise country next year. Because of the war, Oriang just got rich, so it became a franchise country. The result. Such a thing happened. Good guy. Okay. The Heavenly Gold World government has collected it, but your country is also destroyed, and you just prostituted a boatload of heavenly gold for nothing. Take a deep breath of thick smoke. In general, Stussy just can't understand it, forget it. Forget it. I still don't think so much, because I can't accept it, so. I can't understand it, anyway. It's just such a thing, it's just right in front of your eyes, whether you can understand it or not, this is the fact, and Stussy doesn't plan to discuss so much. Because this is a meaningless thing at all, no matter what you discuss. This is already a fact, and it is the kind of fact that cannot be changed at all, if this is the case. Then shut up yourself. Point 0. Shaking his head silently, Stussy turned around and left as well. Don't worry about the next thing. If there is no accident, the British Empire will also be destroyed, and the countries. The reason for the destruction is also very simple, that is because of the death, the real death, because. I can't understand why someone would do such an idiotic thing, even for nothing. I can't imagine why this person would do such a thing. They left silently, while the others watched the excitement quietly. They were all very curious about what the outcome of such an idiot would be, and what exactly was this guy thinking. Woolen cloth. Uncle, the identity of the other party is still uncertain for the time being, do you want to destroy the other party directly? Don't worry. Locke raised his hand and waved his hand and said, there are still 1 or 2 opponents on the opponent's ship who seem to be quite strong. Just in time, the Night Beast will evolve immediately, let the Night Beast act. That's it, after defeating these opponents, the Night Beast can evolve. Secondly, bring me the person who seems to be the leader, I want to ask him, what is he? What do you think? What exactly do you mean? Quote, okay. Uncle, Bell immediately went to make arrangements, compared to Omegamon who squats at home every day. At the level of Omegamon, simply absorbing combat experience points is meaningless. Things can only be comprehended by oneself, the power of darkness, special power or what? Continue to enhance the power of courage and friendship, all in all. In short, everything needs to be comprehended by oneself. And the Night Beasts have been teaching the little guys the way of swordsmanship, as for the Qilin Beast. That is to bully the little guys to earn experience points every day, and the little guys are always under the pressure of the Qilin Beast. The sense of urgency is also full of motivation, which is also a good thing, but Locke didn't say anything. But, in summary, what is going on? Locke is still a little bit incomprehensible to these things now, why do you dare to make such a move? Locke sat on the spot, rubbing his chin, thinking secretly in his heart, based on the current situation. The other party should be the prince of a certain country, but why did this prince attack the Whitebeard pirates all of a sudden? Forget it, it's not an important matter anyway, you'll know when you catch him and ask him. Secondly, after the Night Beast has gone through this battle, it should be able to evolve milk. Night Lord Beast. Locke murmured about this matter softly in his heart, thinking of the magenta or pink Digimon, it is hard to say. To be honest, Locke has nothing to do with the Night Lordman. What other thoughts? Mostly. Most of the Royal Knights are normal, but there are 2 who always give people a strange feeling. The Night Lord Beast, it gives people the feeling that it has a little bit of Sao. Stubborn beast, it looks like a muscular man.